Have I not heard it? Did I hear the question or not?
So, can you demonstrate gas pressure without a container beyond your fundamentalist religious belief that the sky is a vacuum? I.e., please don't point at the sky and say it's a vacuum as the proof that it's a vacuum. That's circular reasoning.
I'm not doing that. Yeah, so yes, the answer is yes. We're going to do that together.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below this video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out and appreciation to Abraham Mohammed, Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Billy Highvolt, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As The Earth, Chow Young Cat, Dank, Dave Rakier, Gafford, David Wayne Foster, Edwin Johnson, Erwin Jennisons, Felix Hung, Fireball X, God Rockin', Jeranism, Kirsten Smith, let's get the mic a bit closer, Liam Niedrich, Life is Short, Matt, Nagara, Hubi, Naibai, Qatar Craig, Reinhardt, Rene, Sally Ballis, Silver Umbrella, Skeptic936, Texas Mike, the Flat Earth Sun, Moon and Zodiac Clock app, theflatearthchannel.com, Tina Baker, and Tom Herkins. Is there any more? No, that's it. So massive shout out to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. And I do believe we are joined by, I think, 10th Man and Flatzoid in the G+. Hello, how are you both doing?
Good afternoon.
Hello. And I think we've also got a few people in Discord, so hello to all of you in Discord. Very good to have you. Maybe none of you are off mute. I haven't actually done any off muting, so no, everyone's on mute. Sorry. I'm not really. No one's going to say hello.
Uh-oh.
Oh, someone was off mute.
Yeah, I muted.
Well done.
Yeah.
Spurs. Good to have you.
I'm just excited about this observation that's been found or made concerning the moon. So the moon's lit from above. We've got the sun setting from below, or however they want to look at it. And they're really struggling to answer this. I've been in the other Discords where the bald earthers reside, and they have no answer for it whatsoever.
What's the source of your observation?
I don't know if you've seen it. I uploaded a video onto my other channel there, Under No Pressure. It's called.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is I see it every month, and we've talked about it. So I'm just wondering what's new about it.
I don't think I've heard a bald earth's explanation on it.
Oh,
have you heard how they've explained it?
Well, yeah, I could explain. It's very simple. The sun is not lighting the moon because the angles are off.
No. Have you heard the bald earth's explanation for it? Is what I'm saying. What do they say?
Well, it doesn't matter what they say. I think one I heard is that it's perspective. The sun's really further away, and it looks like they go, no, it wouldn't work with the rising sun in the morning and the moon still in the sky. It doesn't work when the sun is setting and the moon in the sky because the angles are all off, especially when it's a sliver of the moon is lit and then a quarter and then half of the moon. And then when you say logistically, mathematically, that's impossible for that sun to be reflecting on that moon and just casting that much light. The whole thing should be lit. It's obvious.
That long pause signifies Spurs' only desire is to hear the baller's rubbish explanation for it so he can laugh at it, I think.
Yeah, true, but he's got to go to a baller
Yeah,
station
that
for
was it, really. I mean, obviously we know that doesn't work, but I mean, I don't think we've had an actual observation where we can see the sun or not see the sun. The sun is about to rise, and then we see the moon lit from above, where we have them hand in hand, side by side, so to speak. Yeah, of course, that we see that generally, but I've just never heard their explanation of that. And like I said, I've been into with the ball earthers in the other Discord, and they're just completely at a loss. They're going absolutely crazy at it, actually.
There's only one thing they're going to say, and that's it's perspective, and the sun is really higher up than it looks. It's really not that low.
Yeah. It's bizarre to say the least, anyway. So it'd be interesting just to hear their.
Well, they have a problem because when it comes to an eclipse, what are they going to say?
Do you have a picture of this moon being lit from above?
Yeah. So I won't be able to share it here. I mean, I can post it in the chat here, obviously, but obviously on the show, let me post that in there.
So the whole top of it is lit, and the underneath is in shadow, yeah?
So the underneath is not lit, and the sun is rising below it. So that's that. If you want to go to your timestamp, just go from around 3 minutes onwards. And then just have a look at that, yeah.
Is this the same one where you tried to say that the moon in Scotland was upside down? Is that the same one?
This is in America, this is.
Well, okay.
So I'll just wait for his explanation when he comes back then.
Are you posting the link in the chat, yeah?
Yeah, it's in the live stream chat there. I don't know if you're about to see it, Nathan. I've sent it to you personally, Nathan, so I don't know how they're going to, how you can show them or whatever, but...
You got it last
It's not your video, though, is it, Spurs?
No, it's not my personal one, no, so
right.
Yeah, you might want to worry about the copyright stuff.
No worries.
Yeah. You can just take a picture of it, though, if you want.
Hey, you've sent it to me on what? You've sent it to me on Skype?
I've sent you the video, not the picture. I can send a picture.
On Skype?
I've sent the video on Skype, the link, but not the picture. I'll do that now.
Hold on, it's okay.
Yeah.
Give me a timestamp you want me to go to. Give me a timestamp. And I can hear you feeding back somebody. I think it's Highlander.
So I'm guessing what you're saying is then you're not a believer in the moon as its own light.
Well, of course it is.
Spurs, I just need a timestamp.
Oh, well, you can look at the video. It's from 3 minutes, so 3 minutes, 5-10 seconds. Just pause it there, and then that. It's difficult to see just videoing it, but just pause it there, and you can see when she zooms right into the moon.
Give me a timestamp. 2 minutes 5. 3 minutes 5.
Yeah, let me get more precise.
I'm still waiting for the link in the chat.
I've already posted it ages ago. Oh no, 3 minutes.
Is that the one Satan Lover posted?
3 minutes 14 seconds, and just pause it, and then you can see the bottom half is not lit. The top half is lit, but the sun is underneath. 3 minutes 14. Yeah. Highlander in the chat box, live stream chat.
Yeah, I'm in live stream chat.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, Chocolate. Just
all right, okay. You're in live stream
give me
text.
30 seconds, Spurs, and I'll have it on screen and looking pretty. Okay, so what did you say? 3:14.
Being lit from above, but the sun is not up yet.
Okay.
Oh, who's that?
That's her.
Is that you?
Whoever the videographer is.
Who's playing it? Are you playing that now?
I've got it on screen. Carry on.
I can hear it playing that.
I've got it on screen. Just carry on. My part is done.
Yeah, Yeah. Okay. So have you seen this, Highlander? This image here. We just look for an explanation of how the sun is rising, and the moon is not being lit by it. Because basically, what I'm looking for, Highlander, is whenever I have a moon observations, Moyak, the ball earthers in kind, get their ping pong balls out and say, "Look, let me show you what I mean." They say, "Look, we have a ping pong ball, and this replicates with what you think is reality." So have a look at this picture like this. See these ping pong balls next to the moon? So could you show, Highlander, this image with your ping pong ball, so to speak? That's what we're looking for. Is a replication of this picture here. Look, I've took a picture of it. Can you give a ping pong ball with the light to the right? Yeah? The light should be from the right side, and you light up the left side of the ball, Highlander. Can you do that?
Hold on.
No, Mag Cynic, it's not for me to explain on the flat earth. This is what we're told with ping pong balls, that the shadows reflect on the ping pong ball.
Hold on.
No, I'm just saying.
I've just had a look at your video, right? I've just had a look at your video.
Okay.
And the sun is at the opposite side of the planet. Yeah?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right? You can agree on that, yeah?
I don't know. Hold on. I just want you to show me.
This is going to turn sour quickly. Hold on. Chemo and... Hold on. Highlander and Chemo. Both of you, hold on. Right, Chemo, you've asked him to give his heliocentric explanation. Let him give it. And Highlander, don't ask him for any concessions in regards to your heliocentric belief. Just give him the explanation, because otherwise you're just going to end up rowing with each other. So Spurs, let him give his explanation. Yeah, he's going to be detailing it with balls and stuff, but that's fine. That's what you're asking for. Go ahead, Highlander.
So, on the video, you can see the camera is pointing towards where the sun should be, but the sun's behind the clouds, yeah? And you can see the light coming across over the top of the clouds, yeah? So, the moon is at the opposite side of where the sun is. So, yeah, that's where the light hits the moon and where the shadow is on the moon. That makes sense.
So could you replicate that then with a ping pong? Can you replicate that?
Well, I would need more than a ping pong ball.
Why?
Because you would need something.
All you need to do is get a ball, get a light source,
Spurs,
and shine the light on the ball.
Spurs, he was starting to answer you. You're putting the question forward. Don't answer it for him. He started to answer you.
All right, go on.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you could get a torch and then something that represents the Earth, and then a ping pong ball at the other side. And yeah, that shouldn't be too difficult to replicate. Because the sun isn't below the horizon at that point in time.
Yeah, the sun hasn't. Yeah, that's right. The sun hasn't risen yet. It's early morning.
It's behind the clouds. Hold on.
Did you not hear what the lady said? Watch that segment from the beginning where she explains the sun hasn't risen.
Hold on, Spurs. So she's saying this is pre-sunrise, I think is the point, Highlander. He's saying, no, it's not just behind the clouds, it's before the sun's come up in your model.
That's what she says. That's what she says in the video. She says it's not even sunrise yet.
Okay. So we'd have to continue. Highlander's going to have to take it as read that is actually the case. Now, if he's just going to say, well, no, it's because the clouds are in the way, and dispute the fact that it's not sunrise, or pre-sunrise, then that's the end of the conversation, right? You're at an impasse because you can't prove it beyond what she says in the video, and he's just going to claim the clouds are in the way. So that's the end, right? Unless either of you can provide more data in that regard.
So he's saying, what's his answer? Can I just be clear?
If you look at timestamp 3 minutes 50, yeah, or if you go to 3 minutes 48, yeah, and then watch it from there, you can see the bottom right-hand side of the clouds. That's where the sun is. It's behind that part of the clouds. It
So
is
how is it-
already
how-
risen.
So is the sun to the right or to the left of the moon?
No, it's directly opposite. She has
Opposite
to turn 180 degrees to see the moon from where the sun is.
She doesn't.
She does. The camera starts from the moon, and then she turns 180 degrees to where the sun is, and then she pans the camera all the way back again.
Perfect. When does that happen? What's this? I'll play that. That's presumably only 10 or 15 seconds, right? What's the start and end point for that?
Well, she gives her direction.
Not
She
you,
says,
Spurs.
"I'm looking
Not you,
towards
Spurs.
the north."
Spurs. Highlander, can you just tell me what that start and end point is, please?
I would say I'd go from 325, Nathan.
We've got the moon. Panning down. Then when's the end? Just when she pans back again, presumably.
Yeah, then she pans across to where the sun is, and then a few seconds later she pans back again.
Yeah, almost 180 degrees, I'll give it you. Okay, where'd you go from there, Spurs? Got 3 minutes, then we
Is
go live.
how that side of the moon is lit.
I'll just give you a word of advice. In regards to how the moon gets lit by the sun in their model, I am yet to come across... God, there might have been one, but I don't think so. Any example that they can't just make work in their model. They've had a long time to work this out, Spurs.
But we haven't had this observation thus far.
Yeah, you have. It will have been done at some point, I guarantee it. The amount of times I've had exactly this circumstance, I mean, it must run into dozens of times that I've had somebody show me a moon observation with the sun and go, look, this isn't possible on a globe model. And then someone comes along and goes, yeah, it is, here you go. Chris used to do it for me when we were...
He hasn't really given an answer though, has he, really?
Sure,
He's just said, oh, clouds.
the only way...
Hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt there. But
Go on, Harlan.
it doesn't matter if the Earth is flat or a globe. From that video, even if the Earth is flat, that would work out. Yeah? If the Earth was flat, that would still work out the same.
But it can't work on a globe, that's the point.
Maybe. Until you've got somebody like Chris Monk actually rendering out their model in Blender and showing the positions at those times of day accurately, you can't really tell. And each and every time I took, in the time I knew Chris and was having him do Blender render models, I asked him to do one that I'd done, a couple of the other people had done, and he ran him through the model and they worked. And he said the same thing. He said the same. He said the same thing. You know, he'd done a few where people had said, "Oh, is this an impossible moon?" No, not in their model. I mean, show what? How it works in their model based on them observing cycles and working them into their model. So what? Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean that it is the world is that model, i.e. a sphere model. But most of the time, or to my experience, most of the time, they just work. But, you know, I'm sure we'll endlessly go over people saying this is an impossible moon, that's an impossible moon. It's like, look at specular reflections, let me get it right, say that again, specular reflections, and you can tell that it's not being lit up by the moon. It's not going to work. So their claim that it's being lit up by the moon, that would be the bit that I would attack, because it simply isn't possible. Anyway, I'm going to start the live show. Excuse me.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now, we are joined by Flatzoid, Chocolate Sane, 10th Man, and Quantum Eraser in G+. Very good to have you all.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, hello.
Good afternoon, good morning, hello, welcome one and all, and we're also joined by a whole bunch of people in Discord. Hopefully the majority are off mute. Good to have you all.
Hello.
Good to have you. Jolly good stuff. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Not from Germany.
Nothing.
Not from Italy. Not from
Not
Rome.
from America.
Anyone in Discord? Any signs of Earth curvature? Wouldn't want to get moaned at. Not giving enough time to the question now. Or that we need to circle back to it later. Earth curve? Anybody at all? A couple of newbies in Skype that I'm just going to hustle off mute. We'll ask the question again. That said, I didn't see anybody in there flashing away, showing me how keen they are to answer. Right, everybody who's new in Discord, you're all off mute. Hopefully, yep. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Nope, no curve.
Yeah, I want to stick here for a bit. There's no globeheads in the panel that think the Earth's curved. This is a flat Earth debate. Here on this panel, we declare that the Earth is flat because there is no evidence of Earth curve. Is there no opposition to this declaration? The Earth is obviously and observably flat. Is there any evidence that the Earth is actually curving?
Nothing that's already been said.
You, I believe, Highlander, believe the Earth is a sphere? Is it just your religious belief? Have you accepted this?
Well, I believe the pictures that I've seen.
The pictures from where, sorry?
From space.
Space. Ah. They claim that's a vacuum, you realise?
Yes.
And you realise that we're breathing gas pressure that wants to expand in all directions and would fill a claimed sky vacuum instantaneously? You appreciate that as well?
Yeah, if you have a single pressurized gas where the PSI is equal throughout the container and then you release it to a vacuum, then yeah, that's what would happen.
Right. Whereas in the fundy religion of a globe world in a vacuum, there never was a container to release the gas. It would never have formed in the first place to have a pressure gradient. We just wouldn't have any. It would automatically, immediately dissipate into space and never have time to create any sort of pressure, let alone a pressure gradient. It would just instantly fill the sky vacuum that we're claimed to be in. A tiny dot in a massive sky vacuum. So those pictures are fake.
What?
My point, just before I don't want to dance past the point here now. Don't want to dance past the point. The point being that a claim of pictures that have come from a place that can't be real, i.e. a sky vacuum, are instantaneously deemable as bunk, fake, not real. Those pictures aren't a picture of a world that's curving. A world that's curving. Hello, everyone. Paul and Arwin. Good show, Arwin. I enjoyed your show today. I listened to all of it.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
I
We're
was
only on the
very
first question.
inspired.
But I just want Highlander to either appreciate that the pictures that he holds so dearly to of a sphere world aren't real because they've come from a fake place.
What I will say is, I can understand where you're coming from. I can understand your point of view on it.
That's nice. What my point being that they're fake. That's nice.
That's a pass.
Okay, I'll let you off the hook. Fair enough. Be
No,
fair,
I mean, I can understand how you don't believe they're real, just as much as you can understand how I believe they're real.
Okay, tell me how they can be real.
Well, we have satellites in space.
That's the same place that I've just debunked, though, isn't it? That's the same fake place. Anything else? Not looking good for these
Anyone measure
pictures.
pressure at altitude?
No offense, Highlander, if that's what you're clinging to.
They're not pictures anyway. They're
Images.
composites.
Yeah, images from a fake place.
Anyone measured pressure at altitude?
Has anybody measured pressure at altitude? I have. I personally haven't, no. Sorry.
And what's that mean?
Oh, they say it's like max vacuum we could pull at 80,000 feet.
I
don't see the point.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Vacuum at 80,000
Well, I
feet?
suppose it's a what is question. Is that accurate?
Oh, I see. What they're asserting in terms of the pressures that go up there.
Yes.
I suppose you could question that, but I'm pretty certain that's sort of settled.
If it is, then the question's why. That's all.
Why is it thinner at the top than it is?
When you go up,
Our
when you go up
question
to a
is, how do
certain
we
height,
have
you-
the gas
you
pressure in the
discover
first
jet
place?
stream.
Exactly. Say it again,
What's that?
Chocolate.
All right, let's
I
just
said
stick to
our
one
question
dude.
is, how do we have that gas pressure in the first place? Not how it's gradiated, not what's going on with it. Why do we have it at all?
That's
the
what I
question.
meant by a what is question. So, creation. It occurred. It is.
Or no, just it needs the antecedent of something to press upon, regardless of how it came to be.
What if we send a balloon up and it is in fact what they claim it is?
No, it can't be. Okay,
It's not what they
Sounds
claim.
very
It's a fair enough
presuppositional.
question. What if we go
Oh,
up
sure.
and
No, I understand. It's presupposition because I haven't sent a balloon up, but it just blows my mind that max vacuum I can pull, they claim, is at 80,000 feet. So I ask, has anyone ever done that? Have they verified that? If so,
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Wow.
The max vacuum you can pull? What
That's
does
what I was
that
gonna
mean?
ask.
me, with,
what do you
with
mean?
my vacuum pump and vacuum chamber and all my experience, I could pull negative 29-ish, which I put up a chart in Discord.
That have to do with anything?
That would be in absolute inches mercury 0.8273. But
What's
with my
that in
standard
torr?
gauge, that's negative 29.
what's that in Tor?
That's the maximum I can pull.
I think the
Yeah, but
question is.
there's a couple problems here. Number one, what does that even mean? What's your point? I'm not seeing the point.
Well,
Sorry.
that's the maximum vacuum I can pull without more specialized equipment. I would consider that a really strong vacuum. And to learn that at 80,000 feet, they claim that that is present at 80,000 feet, that is astonishing. That blows my mind. So the question is that not true? Every chart I've ever come across says the exact same thing.
So your question is, based on their assertion of what the sky is doing in terms of the values of pressure, the amount of vacuum that you can create, if this isn't a terrible phraseology, is claimed to be the same in your vacuum chamber as it is at 80,000 feet. And you're saying, has anybody actually verified that the air is that thin at 80,000 feet? Correct?
Yes. Yes.
And what's the Tor value that you get?
Sorry, I didn't catch the end of that.
That's okay. What's the Tor value in your chamber?
Oh gosh, I think the conversion is in there. Is that 21?
You tell me. I don't know.
I believe it says 21 in the chart.
Tor.
Or being the same as millimeters Hg, inches mercury.
What happens to air when it speeds up?
But just round out this point. So you're just essentially saying, is it credible what they tell us about the pressures at those altitudes? That's basically your question. And nobody seems to be,
yes. And if it is true.
Yeah, nobody seems to be answering you.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. No one's got an answer. I don't know is my answer. I have not verified. The first thing I said is I don't know. I've not gone up there with a barometer and checked it. So no, I don't know. Moving on. What did you say, Highlander? Still looking for Earth curve, by the way. Still on the first housekeeping question. Earth curve?
Oh, okay.
We had pictures from space. Can't have space. So can't have those pictures. Anything else? Any demonstrable Earth curve? I'll say it again. We're on a flat Earth debate, and we declare the Earth is obviously and observably flat. And there's an outstanding belief in the majority of the people in the Western world that it's actually a sphere, with the Earth curving away from us at 8 inches per mile squared. So, any actual demonstration of this? Anybody at all?
What about the Discovery Channel's documentary where they done the helicopter test across the lake?
Cool. Tell us all about it.
Have you seen that?
I vaguely remember it. Tell us all about it.
Well, they started off with a laser and they pointed it across the lake, and they took a boat out and they measured where the laser was hitting the boat at certain distances. But then once it got to a certain point, they couldn't find the laser on the boat. And then what they did was they then used a helicopter to fly to the other side of the lake, and they landed the helicopter. And then when they started to raise the helicopter, the person at the other side told them when the helicopter first came into view. And then that's when the pilot of the helicopter confirmed at what height he was at.
Okay. I didn't hear the word curvature mentioned once. Maybe you can break it down for me. What's the curvature?
Well, if it wasn't curving, then they would see the helicopter land on the beach on the other side.
And did they see the helicopter land on the beach on the other side?
No. They didn't see the helicopter until it was several feet in the air.
Okay, well, what was the number then? What was the measurement? What did that measure?
Spurs, do you mind? Spurs.
Sorry.
We're just all we've had.
I would have to.
Yeah, I heard your claim. It's an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. You still haven't told me what's curving, though. I appreciate that you're formulating a logical fallacy affirming the consequent to make this claim, but you didn't detail what the actual curve we were looking at was. Did the for example, based on your
Earth curve.
What has to be? What has to be? You've said a helicopter disappears. Did it just puff into a magic pool of smoke and vanish, as you've described? I don't understand. You haven't explained.
No, it went below the observer's horizon.
Oh, the horizon, you say? So you are also guilty of the fallacy of reification. It would appear that you've reified the edge of your sphere model into an arbitrary position where the sky appears to meet the ground. The horizon. It's not an actual location physically capable of obstructing things. It's a not actual location, an apparent position. But why would you reify this edge of your model into this location that's actually called the horizon? It's not sphere edge now, is it? It's the horizon, not your model's edge. So this is a reification fallacy based on discovery, presumably telling you that that horizon's actually a sphere edge, with an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy you've repeated.
I mean, I can only go by what they showed on the documentary.
Yeah, they showed the horizon, did they not?
I mean, when you observe anything, you obviously
You didn't answer me. You didn't seem to answer me, Highlander. I'll try again. I'll try again. I'll try once more. They showed the horizon, did they not? Same pause as last time. Are we going to get another obfuscation and ignorance of my question? They didn't show you Earth curve. They told you it was Earth curve. I never heard the question.
You cut out there.
So you still haven't answered. You said, I'm just going on what they showed. I'm telling you what they showed you because you told me. Yeah. It was I hadn't quite. You seem to go very silent when I make the concise formation of the question, but then want to interrupt while I'm repeating it. And just let the long pause go again so I can ask it 5 more times without an answer. But don't interrupt it, Highlander. What they showed you was the horizon. And a position where the sky appears, it doesn't actually, appears to meet the ground. It's not an actual location. In this instance, a reification of a sphere edge. That's not what it is. They showed you the horizon and told you, with a logical fallacy, that it's actually the sphere edge. Now, don't ignore that fact detailed by you. Just acknowledge it's a reification fallacy based on an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy. That's what it is. They didn't show you Earth curve. I'll say it again. They showed you the horizon, Highlander. Over. Any more evidence of Earth curvature?
Radio check.
Hey, Kiwi. Good to have you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. You had mic issues. You were coming in and going out without saying anything.
How's it sound now?
Sounds beautiful.
Thank you.
Unless there's any other... I mean, I just think this is the most crucial detail. If you think you live on a sphere, you must have some evidence of Earth curve beyond logical fallacy asserted by the Discovery Channel. You know, because I saw it on TV. It's basically the only evidence we've got so far.
That was that old, disheveled Stephen Hawking video, wasn't it?
I think there's a more recent one, but yes, he did do something similar.
There's a more recent one. I missed that one. Okay.
Yeah, it's just some, fairly hipster-looking dudes going out on a boat. And it might be the same one. Maybe Stephen Hawking was in the studio and it is just one video, but either way, yeah, it's crap. Reification fallacy. Should we move on? Or should we stick with Earth curve, given that it's the most critical detail of living on a sphere? I'll do some shout-outs as there's just a long pause between me asking, and then we'll move on to axial rotation. Good Servant, thank you very much indeed for the super chat. I really do appreciate your support. Flatulent Unicorn, if P, then Q, Q, therefore P. Absolutely spot on. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Flatulent Unicorn. Dave Rakia Gafford. Creation proof without giving glory to the creator is useless. Pass and moot Rakia life. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat.
Shout out Rakia.
Wow, there's a lot of people saying my name in the chat. Say my name, bitches. Clearly triggered. So, any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No.
No.
Again, I'm going to make sure we drag this out for quite some time, because yesterday Jose came in and seemed to moan that the guy putting his axial rotation proof, I think it was R.C. Meisty at the end of his bullshit claim, said, I don't have to prove it because we already know it's a sphere that's spinning Yeah, that dude. Jose felt that it was totally unjust and he didn't get to put his argument that the Foucault pendulum's not actually a Coriolis effect in this instance. So maybe someone else has got some proof of axial rotation.
Brenda's asking to be unmuted, Nathan.
I'm on the case.
Yeah, she's going to tell us about concepts again.
Water droplets.
You just don't understand. That's what it's going to be.
Shoo.
Okay, all the people who've recently joined, you're off mute now.
Hey, Nathan.
Hey, any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety specifically?
Yeah. I just wanted to talk about the other day, and there was a lot of noise, and I listened to the upload of the after show, and I wasn't able to be heard a lot. So I would like, I know that you disagree with me, but I would like very much to have what I said actually be heard.
Oh, excellent. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety? Or just bleatings that you're not being fairly heard?
Well, I'd rather discuss what we discussed yesterday.
What was that?
Coriolis, right?
Yeah, that would be proof of axial rotation, though, wouldn't it? So, go ahead. This would be akin to this question being asked. Any evidence of axial rotation?
You mean 15 degrees an hour?
You tell me. I'm asking for evidence of Earth rotating.
Yeah, 15 degrees an hour. It's been proven by Flat Earth.
Okay, go ahead. Tell us all about it.
That isn't what I came here to discuss.
Bob Noodle Doodle.
Yes, Bob. Bob showed curvature. He proved it.
No, that was Jeranism. Bob showed rotation. Jeranism showed curvature.
Yes.
What's rotating 15 degrees now?
Yes.
Brenda?
Well, Brenda, the question was axial rotation. You said you wanted to talk about Coriolis effect. Now you just said Bob showed curvature. Do you even know where you're at?
That's because it seemed to me that Nathan was insisting that I talk about axial rotation. I want to talk about Coriolis.
Oh my God! You just said. Oh, do you know where you're at? What is it?
Yes,
axial rotation, Coriolis effect, or curvature, Brenda? Which one is it? Why don't you pick one?
Coriolis.
So why did you say
Wait
curvature?
until we get to that subject, Brenda.
Oh my God!
We're there. We're asking for axial rotation. Coriolis is claimed to be a proof of axial rotation. So off you go. Explain what proves it. Don't just say it was proven. Okay, it was proven.
Okay.
Bob Geldof proved unicorns. What's that you say?
No.
Bob Geldof proved them? Yeah, Bob Geldof. Yeah, let's all discuss how Bob Geldof proved them rather than actually supporting this shite. Just tell us how it proves it.
She said curvature. She said Bob Nodell proved curvature.
Ugh. Have you got anything to back
No,
up?
I don't think I did.
Oh, no.
Oh my God, she doesn't even know what she says. I got to repeat back to her what she said. My word.
If the Earth is flat, there will be no Coriolis force. There is a Coriolis force. Therefore, the Earth.
The consequent. You tried to play this game like 3 or 4 months ago, you clown.
You didn't formulate it correctly. She got to the end and had to affirm the consequent with Earth being flat, and then she stopped. What a complete idiot. You affirmed the consequent for Earth being flat. Wow, you complete idiot. She realised right at the end that what she'd done was completely affirming the consequent for flat Earth. What a moron. Have you got anything else, Brenda, to prove Earth spinning? rather than affirming the consequent that Earth's flat with Coriolis effect. What a crock of crap.
That wasn't affirming the consequent.
If P, then Q, Q, therefore P. That was precisely what you just did. You just didn't say, therefore flat Earth at the end.
That's not what I said,
Brenda,
Nathan. I said...
Brenda, is Coriolis supposed to be an argument for rotation or for curvature?
She hasn't got a clue.
She doesn't know.
I said, if P, then Q, not Q, therefore not P.
That's not what you formulated, but that's denying the antecedent.
That's what I said. I said, if
I
the
don't
Earth
care.
is
This isn't what's my fallacy, you stupid cow. Do you think we want to dissect your dumbass words for the next 20 fucking minutes? Have you got any proof Earth spins or not? If you have, present it. If you haven't, shut your stupid mouth. Did you hear me?
Coriolis proves the Earth rotates.
Go on then. How does it prove it?
Because it can't exist on a stationary object.
Yeah. So prove that you've got a spinning object, then demonstrate some Coriolis effect on it. Don't start with it spinning in your presupposition and then affirm the consequent. Just tell us an example of Earth spinning.
No, the Earth the Earth is a non-inertial rotating reference.
That's called begging the question. I mean, weren't you here yesterday when I absolutely bent Zanuck over and pummeled him with this over and over again? To just start your statement by saying Earth is a non-inertial reference frame is essentially saying, I start this example with Earth spinning. It's called a begging the question fallacy. You have literally just declared that Earth is a non-inertial spinning reference frame. So your opening gambit is to say Earth is spinning.
Because we observe Coriolis.
So you're about to affirm the consequent again. Okay, get to the end of this logical fallacy then.
No, I'm not affirming the consequent. If the Earth is stationary, we will not observe Coriolis. We do observe Coriolis. Therefore, the Earth is not stationary.
Okay,
that is not.
No worries. No worries. So what? Hold on. So what is Coriolis effect, Brenda?
It is an inertial force.
Yeah, I need more detail.
Oh, it is a result of the resistance of mass to acceleration.
So you're saying that it's something... Hold on.
Wow.
Hold on. You're saying it's something actually either resisting a force or being having a force applied to it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's called inertia as a consequence of objects that resisting acceleration.
Okay.
That's
okay, Brenda, thank you.
of...
Thank you. So it's an object resisting acceleration. So there's some sort of interplay, some sort of force acting on it. Wrong. You don't understand what Coriolis...
No.
I need you to shut up! You stupid bitch! I heard! Now you shut your fucking stupid mouth while I pummel your utter horseshit! Now shut up! No. Coriolis effect is a not actual force. I will now explain what I mean. When you are on a spinning roundabout, observing a drone hovering, not moving relative to itself or the ground, it's just in one position in its coordinate system. However, that not moving or having any forces applied to it because it's hovering seems to be flying towards you and flying away from you. I'll say that again. Seems, not actual, not force, not interaction, but seems to fly towards you and fly away. Because the force that's involved is on you, observing this not moving object, a drone hovering, as you rotate underneath. You have a force acting on you, rotating you. The drone is not moving. So this Coriolis force is a not actual force. No interaction, no deviation. The drone's not got any force acting on it. So when you describe it as being an interplay, you are wrong. You do not understand what Coriolis effect is. Ergo, your example, which details a proof of Earth spin with Coriolis, is automatically wrong because you don't understand the premise on which you are making your example. Because at a fundamental level, you think Coriolis is a force, and it is not. Do you understand? Brenda?
Coriolis is an inertial force. It's internal. It is intrinsic to the property of matter.
Yeah, we heard your claim. You believe there is a force interplay with whatever it is you're claiming. There is not, because it's not an actual force. No deviation. An apparent curving, because you're rotating underneath. So there's no force curving the ball because it's not curving. It just seems to be, but you seem to continually assert that there is a force, and I'm in no doubt whatsoever that after this second rebuttal to your stupid claim that is wrong, you will simply repeat your first assertion.
I'm not claiming an interplay. It's an intrinsic property of matter.
What is?
What? Coriolis is an intrinsic part of matter? What the hell are you talking about, Brenda?
The Coriolis isn't a force, it's an effect. And it's a property of matter that it resists change in velocity or acceleration.
She's just said it again. She's saying it resists. What? Okay, so for the drone to appear to fly away and fly towards me as I rotate underneath it, what force is acting on that drone, please, Brenda, to make it seem like it's flying towards me and flying away?
There's no force acting on it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Coriolis is not an external. Coriolis is not an external force.
It's not a force at all.
Oh, so then it can't cause
It's
anything.
an
then,
intrinsic property.
Brenda, can't cause anything then, Brenda, can it?
And there's nothing being resisted, right?
There's no resistance then. The drone has no resistance to anything.
No,
it's not doing anything.
She said the Coriolis force is an intrinsic part of matter.
It's ludicrous. It's an effect
No,
you will observe when you have two reference frames. One inertial, one non-inertial spinning beneath it. That's what Coriolis is. It's not an intrinsic part of my chair that I'm sat on.
It is an intrinsic part of your chair.
Right, at that point you get kicked out.
Intrinsic.
No. You don't get to say that it's an intrinsic part of my chair. No, there's no Coriolis force, because it isn't one. Intrinsic to this chair. That's fucking ludicrous. That's the end of this babbling bitch's time here. Bye-bye, you babbling idiot. Anybody else? Right, we're on the second housekeeping question. So far, we've got a moron who doesn't understand what Coriolis effect is that's just wasted 5 minutes of our time with a incomprehension of this subject. Now, I want somebody to actually prove I'm on a spinning, rotating bloody earth with an axis. Now we've got Rumpus. See how long this lasts. Hey, Rumpus. Any proof of axial rotation? Rumpus. No, he's not playing. Anybody at all claim that the Earth spins?
And it's an inertial force, a special sort of force, but it is a force.
Sorry,
Inertial forces, apparent forces are real
fictitious
forces. They
one?
cause real acceleration. And the fact that you don't understand that means, of course, you don't understand Coriolis, which, of course, we know.
Sorry, I haven't heard a claim that Earth's spinning. What's the claim?
Well, Coriolis force is one. The fact that we see the Doppler effect on the cosmic wave, microwave background, the focal pendulum.
Oh my God! Shut up! Stick with one topic. Cosmic evolution.
Come on, John. I
bacteria
can't hear what he's
jars.
saying.
The fact that things weigh
Bacteria in
different amounts,
jars.
different latitudes.
Here we go.
Do you want to pick one? Do you want to pick one?
Easy.
Do you want to pick
10,
one? Can the Google Plus stop rumpusing? Do you want to pick one and explain it to us then, Rumpus?
Oh, go with Coriolis. Might as well do that.
Excellent. Explain how Coriolis effect proves Earth spinning without...
Could you define
guys in the
Coriolis for
Google
us,
Plus,
Rumpus?
can you shut up? Rumpus, without first assuming that Earth is spinning, please can you explain?
Right, you don't assume... Right. We witness something called the Coriolis effect. This would not occur on a non-rotating Earth. The fact that it does occur means we're on a rotating Earth. It's very simple.
Affirming the consequent formula.
Sorry, can you stop rumpusing each other? Go ahead, John. Do you want to break that down?
Yeah, he just posted a friggin' affirming the consequent formological fallacy. He's a schmuck.
You're an idiot too. You know nothing of which you speak.
Sorry, excuse me.
You're just in denial of basic facts. The fact
You know
is
nothing.
G plus. Hello, Arwin, please.
On a non-rotating Earth. Therefore, the fact that it's there means we're on a rotating Earth. It's very
That's an
simple.
affirming the consequent Rumpus.
Science actually is based on...
Rumpus, I was just about to start talking.
know
If you can't let me respond to anything you say, there's obviously no point in having any conversation with you. So,
what's the question? Well, you haven't really responded to what I've said. But I'll answer your question. What is it? What's the
Okay.
question?
Need you to stop talking and I'll explain. Thank you, Rumpus.
I had stopped.
Thanks, brilliant. If you can continue to stop without telling me that you've stopped again, that'd be wonderful. So,
I've
it was... no, you can't, clearly. Last chance. Anybody... last chance, Rumpus. So, anybody who moans that I have to mute these fucktards like Rumpus, who literally is so fucking stupid he can't shut his mouth for me to continue a sentence and rebuttal. He's also claimed that there was no response to what he stated, even though it was absolutely made crystal clear by Quantum Eraser that he had used an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy, if P then Q, Q therefore P. He used Coriolis effect, and now he's interrupting me. So I'm going to ask a different question. Are you scared of it being repeated that you have affirmed the consequent? Because you seem to be interrupting me again with his, what I call, globe head fundy mute button. So I'll try again. Let's see if I can. This is now the third attempt to explain that Rumpus, who's deaf and stupid and didn't hear the rebuttal, maybe he was talking when John very clearly, and now he's talking again, very clearly explained that he'd used a logical fallacy. Now, I don't know if he can ever stop talking more than 10 seconds to listen to the fact that he's used not sound logic, not good logic. There he goes again. Fundy globe head mute button being used continually by Rumpus. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. He's still talking over me. Still talking over me. Still talking over me. You're muting me, Rumpus. You're muting me. You're muting me, Rumpus. You're muting me, Rumpus. Globehead Fundy. You're Globehead muting me. Globehead muting me, Rumpus. So I'll tell you why he's doing this. Because he's scared. Because he's scared. He's affirmed the consequent, and he's so scared to address his logical fallacy, his lapse in logic, that he's going to declare, Rumpus.
Let's discuss that.
You've affirmed the consequent. You used... Yeah, I'll repeat it, and let's see if you can respond with a full rendition. He can't. He doesn't want it repeated concisely.
I do want it repeated.
Then shut up. Let's see how many attempts.
Repeat it.
One, first attempt. So, you have second attempt. You have a third attempt. You have affirmed the consequent using something called a formal logical fallacy, I might add. No. Affirming, that's the fourth attempt. I'll try again. You have used the Rumpus, because you're an idiot and don't understand sound logic. No, I haven't. That's the fifth time. Fifth time is interrupted. I'll try again.
Well, you're taking so
That's the sixth time. Sixth time is interrupted. He's scared, terrified. Seventh time is absolutely terrified. Watch him squirm.
I've got an
Eighth time is interrupted. He wants to address it, but he can't stop interrupting. Eighth time is interrupted. I'll try again. Ninth time, the Fundy mute button. Tenth time he's used the Fundy mute button. I'll try again. Let's see. 11th time he's used the Fundy mute button. Let's try again. So you have affirmed. 12th time he's used the Fundy mute button. So 13th time he's used the Fundy mute button. So you have affirmed the consequent. You have used a formal logical fallacy called 14th time he's interrupted me with the Globehead Fundy mute button. He's terrified. He's stupid. He doesn't know what sound. 15th time he's interrupted me. 16th time he's interrupted me with the Globehead Fundy mute button. 16th time he's interrupted me with the 17th time he's interrupted me with the Globehead. He's terrified of his logical fallacy being concisely summarised.
I want to discuss it.
18th time he's interrupted the summary of his logical fallacy that he claims he wants to discuss.
Rumpus.
19th time. 19 times.
The point, Nathan.
20 times he's interrupted my concise summary of his logical fallacy he said we didn't give him.
Debate it or not.
21 times he's interrupted the summary of his logical fallacy he said he hadn't had and wants to address. 21 interruptions. I'll try again to summarise his lapse in logic, his fallacious reasoning, his formal logical fallacy known as affirming the consequent. If P, then Q, Q, therefore P. If the Earth is spinning, we will see Coriolis effect. We see Coriolis effect, therefore the Earth is spinning. If P, then Q, Q, therefore P, and affirming the consequent used by somebody who doesn't understand sound logic, that would be the rumpus. Now let's see if he can actually address the rebuttal he claimed didn't come. Go ahead, rumpus.
Right, are you aware of the
21 times he interrupted me. I'm going to give him 21 interruptions back. 21 interruptions he gave me, so I'm going to give him 21 interruptions back.
Right. That policy...
21 interruptions you gave me, you fucking globehead fundy cunt. I'm going to interrupt you 21 times, you stupid little twat. 21 times you interrupted me, you fundy little fucktard. I'm going to interrupt you, you dumb fuck, stupid idiot, 21 times, you dumb motherfucker. I'm going to interrupt your stupid fundy fuckwit rebuttal 21 times, you fuckwit asshole. You are going to get interrupted 21 times, you stupid fuckwit asshole. You used the fundy globehead mute button on me 21 fucking times. So I'm going to fundy globehead mute you 21 times. I'm going to globehead mute you 21 times, you fundy asshole. You think it's reasonable to fundy globehead mute me, so I will fundy globehead mute you, because you're stupid. You don't understand what logic is, you're a moron. You're a moron, you don't understand what sound logic is, you use fallacy.
You do not know...
You don't understand what logic is. You use fallacy, and 21 times you interrupted me with the globehead fundy mute button, so I'm going to interrupt you 21 times with the globehead fundy mute button.
You don't understand.
You are a moron. You use logical fallacy and decide that to obfuscate that logical fallacy that you used, because you're a moron, you will interrupt 21 times.
Try again. If there is a...
You are a moron and have interrupted me 21 times to use the fundy mute button to obfuscate your logical fallacy that you used. You affirmed the consequent and then tried to obfuscate it 21 times. Because you're a moron and haven't got sound logic.
You need to learn some logic, Nathan.
You are the one who doesn't understand logic, and you interrupted 21 times for me to summarise that you used an affirming the consequent. All you did was globehead mute me. That's all you did.
Responding doesn't count as interruptions, two more.
We can't be here all day. I don't have time to listen to you.
I can do whatever the fuck I like. I'm going to interrupt you 21 times until you get it. Yeah, it's annoying when someone's trying to summarise a point and you interrupt them 21 times.
Nathan, you interrupt
You interrupted me 21 times. I'm just repaying the favour by giving you the same treatment. The fundy globehead mute button that you use all the time.
You do this all the time.
Yeah, now you're projecting.
This is how you behave.
Now you're projecting. You've used the globehead fundy mute button 21 times. I counted them off. I'm returning the favour, and you're projecting that onto me. You're a projecting globehead fundy who uses logical fallacy rumpus. You want a shit show. It's your name.
If you'd listened to
I'm going to interrupt you 21 times, rumpus. You don't seem to understand. You've used your globehead fundy mute button to obfuscate your logical fallacy, and I'm returning that favour.
We're going to the logical fallacy if you like. If you want to debate...
I don't want to go to anything except fundy mute you 21 times to show the audience how necessitised the mute button for fuckwits is. Either we can have endless diatribe of me fundy muting you 21 times to return the favour, or you can learn and the audience can learn that it's absolutely necessary to shut these fuckwits up. Because they'll interrupt you 21 fucking times, and I'm showing the audience what happens if you don't control these little bastards. They'll obfuscate
Your
their
audience
humiliation.
knows that I've got a
They'll
good point,
obfuscate the
and you're
fact
trying to
they've used
censor it.
fallacy. They'll claim they haven't had a chance. They'll claim they haven't had a rebuttal, that we've ignored their claims when it was made clear that he used a logical fallacy. Now that I'm done with my 21 interruptions, logical fallacy boy, you can respond.
You're the one who's frightened of being exposed for your idiotic logic, and I'll do it again. We have the Coriolis effect, that therefore we cannot be on a stationary Earth, therefore we're on a stationary one. That does not use affirmative consequence. If you don't realise that, you're an
You just said therefore we're on a stationary Earth. The end of his formulation of that logical fallacy ended with him stating that therefore we're on a stationary Earth. That was the conclusion. He made the same stupid mistake Brenda made and made his logical fallacy with the end conclusion that Earth is stationary.
Misheard me, you idiot. You misheard me.
You used a logical fallacy and you haven't addressed it.
Without interruption, so we can all understand what I'm saying. We experience a Coriolis force, which we can see in things like hurricanes and weather systems and in the focal pendulum, etc., etc. Because we have that, you cannot have that effect on a stationary Earth. Therefore, as we're not on a stationary Earth, we know we're on a moving Earth. It's very simple.
Do you want to explain how that proves that, rather than just using a logical
Because
fallacy?
the Coriolis... Sorry, you go ahead. Sorry, I did interrupt you there.
Yeah, do you want to take us through the steps of how it proves it? An example. Cowbell, please.
Okay, here we go. The Coriolis force, and it is a force, it is an actual force, it's an inertial force. We do experience it as a force because it causes things to accelerate. So it is an actual force. So Brenda was wrong in saying it wasn't. It is an actual force, and that's what force causes things to move like weather system. Right. So because we can see it by looking at hurricanes, etc., we can see that they rotate. We can see what the focal pendulum does, and there are other things, other ways of measuring the Coriolis force. And bullets, etc., artillery. So we experience these things. Therefore, that cannot occur on a stationary Earth. The fact that we experience them means we're not on a stationary Earth. Therefore, we're on a moving one. It's very simple.
Yeah, sorry,
Rumpus, I'm pretty sure that Coriolis is not a force.
You've just repeated the same thing, and you didn't detail.
Okay, well, I'm sorry if I repeat
You seem to be interrupting me again. Immediately, it's requiring the globe, head, fundy, mute button. I left you to make your claim, which was in fact a repetition of a claim. You didn't actually back it with any explanation. You just repeated your claim. And now he's muting me again.
Oh, Nathan, if you can present my screen for a second. Hold on. I got it looked up.
Do I have to look on YouTube for this?
Yeah, I just want to address what Rumpus has actually said, if I can get a chance to.
It's fine. Just present me at the same time.
Yeah, you're presented. Thank you, Arwin. So you claimed that it's an actual force. We experience a force at the start of your statement. I gave an example earlier where we have a drone that is hovering above a roundabout. Now, by hovering, I mean, relatively speaking, it's not moving. It's staying in its position. Hovering. I'd like to know... Yeah. Sorry, that I'm not allowed to ask the question concisely. Is that a problem, Rumpus?
No, sorry, I didn't. There's some problem.
Yeah, you just used the fundy mute button on me again, didn't you,
No,
Rumpus?
I didn't mean to.
Yeah, you did. You're doing it now. I still haven't got to the end of my conclusion and question.
It broke up, Nathan. That's all that happened.
It's because you talked. I pointed out that you interrupted me and you're doing it right
let's
now.
get on with it, Nathan.
Right now. I don't need your permission. Fundy globe mute button time. Right, Rumpus? Telling me to get on with it rather than shutting your stupid fucking mouth. Rather than shutting your fucking mouth, you're telling me to get on with it.
Get on with it!
Yeah, there you go again. Fundy mute button being used, telling me to get on with it. Because he's a fucktard. Because he's a complete fucktard. He can't shut his mouth. So he's got to tell me to get on with it. There we go again. Through his distorted microphone, literally screaming to get on with it. Here we go.
The only way for him to get on with it is for you to shut up,
Yeah,
Rumpus.
he's a moron.
I will!
He's got
He's not
Tourette's.
getting on with it!
He's got moron
No, you
Tourette's.
constantly keep
Can't
on
cope with
doing
it.
it.
He's deciding now to engage Arwin so that he can prevent the conclusion being concise.
Get on with it!
There he goes
For
again.
Christ's sake.
Every time I do it, every time I point out his tactic, he'll continue to use the same tactic
not
with his
pointing out my tactic. Get on with it.
horrendously
Get on with your
distorted
point.
microphone.
Get on to
He's
the
not-
substance
He
of the
doesn't
point,
seem to
Nathan,
understand that
instead
I
of
run the
just
show. I
shouting
don't run
away
to his
ad
timetable.
hominem.
Him muting me with this fundy mute button tactic by saying get on with it 50 more times won't work. So I'll try and start again with a concise summary. See how quickly it takes him to fundy globehead mute me because he doesn't understand he's formulated a fallacy and doesn't understand what Coriolis effect is. So you explained there is a force being experienced. It is an actual force. I earlier gave an example of a drone that is relatively stationary in its position, hovering above a roundabout. And I detailed that it will appear to you as the observer as flying towards you and flying away from you. Now I want you to detail what force the drone is actually experiencing, given that it's not actually moving. Go.
Earth, the drone hovering above the roundabout, it is not being subjected to a force. But in the reference frame...
That's the end of your fuckwittery then, isn't it? So when you say it is subject to a force, no, it is not. You are wrong. It is a not actual force. Your declaration that it's an actual force is wrong. Now, I will fucking pummel your stupidity. Saying that it's an actual force is wrong, Rumpus. It's not a force, and you've just conceded that. Now, I don't give two fucks what you think you see. The drone's not moving. It's not experiencing any force.
Am I going to be allowed to explain here? Right, here we go. So, from the reference frame of the roundabout...
No, the drone! You will do the same exact thing that 5 fuckwits yesterday did, and insist that we experience this from the non-inertial reference frame, and no matter what the fuck I say, he will fix a camera to that roundabout. Now I'm going to demand that we're going to be fixing a camera to the fucking drone, like I did with the last 5 fuckwits who came here with this argument. You're a fuckwit. RC Meisty's a fuckwit. Brenda's a fuckwit. Grim V's a fuckwit. Blind Sniper's a fuckwit. And Rumpus is a fuckwit, because he thinks he's going to get away with fixing our view to the roundabout. No, I'm not going to let that happen. We're fixing the view to the fucking drone. You get it?
It's a very
drone!
easy answer.
The drone! We're fixing the view to the drone.
There's a very easy answer.
No, we're fixing the view to the drone. The drone's not experiencing any force.
Hello, Nathan. Can I answer, please? Right.
You've already answered. The drone's not experiencing any force. There's no force involved. The projectile in this instance isn't moving. It has no force. It's not a force. Actual is wrong. You declared it's an actual force. You are wrong.
The reference frame of the roundabout.
Yeah, I've already made it explicit to my audience that you will absolutely fix the reference frame to the roundabout from now on. You've been rumbled using the same shit argument that 5 preceding fucktards used. I'll list them. We had Zanik, the fucktard, using this same argument, intentionally trying to fix the camera to the roundabout no matter what I say. We've also had Brenda, another complete fucktard just like Rumpus here, who's going to insist for the next 25 fucking minutes that we fix the camera to the roundabout, because they're going to later beg the question that that's Earth. Nah, fucktards, already been rumbled weeks ago. We also had Blind Sniper, the complete fucktard, who asserted this too. Yeah, declared that Zanik was right after detailing changing reference frames, i.e. you can fix your point of view by Brenda the fucktard to anything you like, and I'm fixing it to the drone. And this will make Rumpus go absolutely batshit nuts, because he's got to fix the reference. He's got to fix your point of view to the rotating frame. He'll never say that the frame of reference is the drone, because as soon as he does, I get the concession that I've already got. There's no force being applied to it.
Roundabout, the drone is accelerating.
On the roundabout. Yeah, let's see how many times. I'm going to count. That's 3 so far. That he insists that this reference frame is always the spinning reference frame. No matter how many times I scream the drone like I did to the former fucktards that came here. Yesterday, my blood was boiling. Today, I'm having a good laugh at Rumpus the retard, because he's the same stupidity level as Grim V, Blind Sniper, Brenda, Zanik, and who was the other complete... Oh, RC Meisty. He's the same stupidity level. So I'm just going to have a damn good chuckle. I'm not going to lose my shit. But I will just say the drone, not the roundabout.
Reference to a reference frame.
The drone.
In the reference frame of the roundabout, the drone.
Hey, so that's 4. So I'm going to count them off. He's going to insist I reckon 20 times that we fix the reference frame to the roundabout, and it won't matter how many times I scream, the drone, the drone, the drone. He'll just do the same as the former 5 fucktards that have done this exact same thing yesterday.
You don't understand what a reference frame is, and you don't understand how accelerations appear for a particular reference frame. And in the case of the roundabout, the drone appears to accelerate.
Appears to, so not actual. Appears to.
Yes.
So not actual. So not actual. So not an actual. He won't let me respond for Fundy mute button time. So not an actual force then.
It's an inertial force.
So not an actual force then.
It is in the reference frame of the roundabout.
Oh, that's 6 times he's fixed the reference frame to the roundabout. 6 times so far. Same argument as 5 other fucktards, Rumpus. What about from the drone?
You don't understand what reference
What about from the drone? 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 From the roundabout, that's 7 times. What about from the drone?
The drone!
The drone! Rumpus, are you deaf?
Right, from the drone. Indeed, it's not accelerating. That's the
So not a force then, you complete fucking idiot!
It's frame of the roundabout.
Not a force then, you fucking moron! Rumpus is just dumb. Demonstrably stupid. He made it explicitly clear that it's an actual force. No, it isn't.
Yeah, it's even all over Wikipedia. I presented it earlier. It's
Rumpus.
direct. Coriolis force is a fictitious force. Then when you direct to that, it says a fictitious force, also called a pseudo force. And then it's even described in detail how it is all just apparent.
It's all right. He's
There
triggered.
is no
He's
force,
triggered Owen.
it's
He
just
has to
force
Fundy
alike.
mute you while you're pointing out his stupidity when he said it was an actual force and how wrong he was. He'll start muting me now. He's muting me right now because I'm pointing out how wrong he is. He's having to Fundy mute me. Fundy mute time, right, Rumpus? Time to get that mute button well and truly working, isn't it, Rumpus? Because you've been demonstrated to be stupid. So because you've been demonstrated stupid and wrong, not an actual force as you declared, you will insist on using the Fundy mute button. This is what people like Jose think I should stop. They say, isn't he bad using the mute button on people like Rumpus? When in reality, what I do is I have to shut them up when they are pummeled. Because Rumpus said it was an actual force. And every time I say it's an actual force, for all of you who agree with Jose that I shouldn't mute these assholes, all these assholes can do is lie and say that it's an actual force. And when it's pointed out that from the drone it's not, it's only appearing, he'll Fundy mute the fuck out of me. Because he's a Fundy, a religious zealot, and he's wrong, and he's got to lie. And this is all you want. Is this what you want, Jose? Shouldn't I be muting this asshole while he talks over every fucking word I say? Yeah? Let's just give a concise summary. When I have the mute button, I don't have to shout. I can just shut his stupid ass up. It's a necessity to not have a shit show. When someone's being raped, they squeal. Now, obviously, for everyone in the comments that feels that's not an appropriate term, metaphorically speaking, Rumpus has been held down after asserting that Coriolis is an actual force, made it clear, and then when we've led him to the drone's frame of reference, the thing that's not having anything happen to it, he's got to concede. No, it's not an actual force. But he won't concede his stupidity. He'll just use the Fundy Globehead mute button to stop the information calmly and concisely reaching the audience. Because that's what he really wants. He wants to spew endless claims that he can prove it spins. And when we pull them apart, Fundy mute the rebuttal, simultaneously declaring that no rebuttal was given when it was made clear by Quantum Eraser that he used a formal logical fallacy, something that he whistled past. Now Rumpus has been absolutely demolished, in the same method that the 5 fucktards who came here yesterday got demolished. They can only assert it's a force if they fix the position of the viewer to the non-inertial spinning reference frame. Why? Well, because they're going to be begging the question of an Earth that's a non-inertial spinning reference frame. So they better make every single example from that non-inertial spinning reference frame when you're talking Coriolis, because they're going to be making the Earth that non-inertial reference frame when they talk about it in the context of Earth. Now, examples outside of a presupposed spinning Earth that's a non-inertial reference frame, those examples aren't really conducive with non-force forces that they want to think of as a force. So they have to use the rumpus tactic. Or maybe bleat like Jose did. Oh, you have to mute people when they obfuscate their humiliation. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'll shut this fucktard up.
From the perspective of the roundabout,
the entire time while I've made this explanation nice and concise, because his only intention is to stop the demolition of his fallacy, to stop his pummeling reaching an audience, so they fundy globehead mute you the entire time you respond. 21 interruptions with the globehead fundy mute button. Maybe you'd like to come and appeal now, Jose. You didn't even have an argument for this. You're not even considered one of the fucktards. Beyond fucktardery, you couldn't even present an argument in this instance. More stupid than Grimfee. And with that, I'll say, if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, then unfortunately this is where we bid you farewell. But if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of you. Oh wow, loads of people smashed the super chat and I didn't shout them out. Hold on 1 second. So shout out to B-Ball for Life. Please show us flat earth evidence. Well, I appreciate you asking. There's stuff that rolls by all time. I'll just stick it back on. So yeah, feel free to watch any of the credits, the slides that go by. There's flat earth proof galore. But again, I'll say a massive thank you to all of you who watched live. Stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
So his original declaration of it being a force is just wrong.
It is a force.
Oh, that sounds a lot like George Muser, huh?
You just don't understand.
Oh, by the way, Nathan,
you don't
it's still
understand very
rolling.
much about physics. You understand this?
You're still live.
Think of it.
The problems
like a
are when
force.
you don't know very much about physics. That's the problem. That's where the problem lies, because you don't understand.
What, that it's a pseudo
I mean, it's
force?
quite complicated. A lot of clever people don't understand.
No
it.
response allowed. No response. No response allowed, Rumpus. No response. No response allowed. I know we're still live. Thank you for ruining. Ugh, fucking idiots. Thank you. So, Rumpus. Pseudo force, you say?
I seem to be the only person here.
Pseudo force, Rumpus, you say?
What was that?
Pseudo force. Pseudo force, you say? Dumb fuck, deaf, idiot. Pseudo force. Not actual then. You declared it was an actual force.
It behaves just.
Shut him up. Immediately. Took about 10 seconds. Soon as I point out his fucktardery, immediately using globehead mute button.
The thing about physics.
There he goes. Globehead fundy mute button. Globehead fundy mute button. Immediately. Immediately. Pseudo force. Didn't hear me. Didn't hear me, fucktard.
Pseudo forces just act just like normal forces, but you don't understand that because you're a moron.
Pseudo forces just act like normal forces. Okay.
Just like
let's try that. Let's try that.
Get it right.
Let's try it.
Repeat.
Let's try it. Let's try it, Rumpus.
Try and repeat. And a pseudo.
Let's try an example, Rumpus. Let's try an example.
You're breaking up and you're stuttering.
Yeah, because you're continually talking. So, Rumpus, the drone example. If I push the drone, that's an actual force. Now, I want to know how the not actual force of it seeming to move and seeming to come towards me on the roundabout is the same as me standing up and pushing it into a different position. Go.
From the reference frame of the roundabout.
It's eighth time. From the reference frame of the roundabout? No, I'm pushing the drone. I'm not moving the inertial, non-inertial reference frame. I'm going to push the drone.
Baby steps. We need to do this in baby steps.
You fucking idiot. I've pushed the drone. I haven't touched the roundabout, but he's immediately talking about what it looks like from the non-inertial spinning reference frame. Immediately!
The mouth, open brain, try and engage what intellectual power...
Just to add hum in the
Sounds like you don't understand Coriolis.
You don't understand Coriolis, Rumpus. I've explained that there's a force being put on the drone. And you didn't comprehend that because you started describing what was being seen from a position that isn't the drone when I'm pushing a drone.
We'll deal with a stationary drone first.
Yeah, a stationary drone. One that's hovering in its position, not moving anywhere. That's not got any force being applied to it. But you're saying that non-actual forces behave the same as forces. No, they don't.
Let's do baby steps for you.
It's just the same ad hom. Same baby steps for me. That's not a response. Me pushing the drone and it seeming to move because I'm rotating underneath it is the same as me saying if I see a hovering drone and I walk towards it, well, technically it's actually moving. Well, no, it fucking isn't. You're a retard.
We don't want to strain those poor little neurons that you struggle.
Same ad hom as last time. You don't understand, you're stupid. Yeah, I do understand. If I'm rotating underneath a drone that's hovering, it's not got any forces acting on it. It's not fucking moving. You're stupid. If I push the drone, it's got an actual force on it. Now, those two things are not in any way comparable. Now, the fact that you can't accept that and can only say, I need to take baby steps to explain this.
The drone is accelerating. Therefore, it has a force acting on it from the reference frame of the roundabout.
Right, that's the 9th time you said from the reference frame of the roundabout, which is all it can do. Fix the reference frame to the roundabout. Now, I'm talking about the drone. The drone isn't moving. I push it. It's moving. When I push it, it moves. When I see it seeming to move because I'm walking towards it or rotating underneath it or flying past it in a fucking aeroplane, doesn't make any difference. It ain't fucking moving until I push it. Now, you saying that, well, from the roundabout or from the aeroplane or as I walk towards it, it seems like it's coming closer. Yeah, that's you moving, you fucking idiot.
With additional information.
It's just rumpus in the shower. So
the roundabout,
just literally rumpus in the shower. You can't have a conversation, rumpus. You can't have a reasonable conversation.
You haven't let me finish a sentence yet, Nathan. This is the problem.
Yeah, because you declared that actual forces are the same as not actual forces. And then you just rumpus the shit out of every fucking word that I said in response to that horse shit. Actual forces being described as a drone being pushed versus a drone not being pushed and seeming to move because you're rotating underneath it. And when I said, how is those two things the same when one has the drone moving, the other absolutely doesn't, it just seems that way, and all you can fucking do is rumpus the living hell out of me. You haven't listened to a word I've said in this instance. You didn't listen last time. You didn't address anything I said. You used the fundy mute button 21 times. In this instance, I'm shutting down your line so I can concisely summarise this. But you won't fucking listen to anything I've said. You'll just talk non-stop.
I will. If you want to take turns, Nathan, I will. Do you want to take turns in talking?
You already did that.
Like.
I already did that, you fucking idiot. And you declared that it's an actual force. You declared that it's the same as a not actual force when it's a force. These two things are the same. You're a fundamental idiot at all levels.
Not the same. You said two things aren't the same. What aren't the same?
Forces and not actual forces aren't the same. You declared that a force... And there he is again! I got two fucking words out!
Yeah, but you broke up, Nathan!
Alright, that's because you started talking! You complete retard!
Seconds, you moron! You keep on breaking up and stop talking, so I therefore went
That's because you're talking, Rumpus.
You think in the middle of a breath?
I wasn't talking!
Yeah, he's just an asshole. He's dumb. He doesn't understand reference frames.
Yes, he was. I had
right, here we go.
He doesn't understand how to shut up. He's still doing it now. He's interrupting. Your globe head muting me, Rumpus. 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 So yeah, he's an idiot. When will I ever get a chance to talk uninterrupted? Never.
I'm trying to answer your question.
You're not trying to answer me. You've already answered me. I'm trying to address it. You just want to spew.
You asked a question, and I would like to give an answer.
It's another goodbye to the live audience. I thought that there might be some reasonable chance that Rumpus actually would start having a decent conversation. Absolutely no sodding chance whatsoever.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
As real as what we're going to call
You're an asshole, Rumpus.
Oh my God, you're still going.
Yeah, he's still talking, even when there was an outro going. He's a fucking mentalist. He doesn't know how to shut up. So, Rumpus...
So you didn't hear anything I just
there we go again. As soon as I pause to start the next statement that he will not let through, he starts talking again.
So you didn't hear any of that.
Now you're
Rumpus, I'm running the show, and I dictate which way this conversation goes. You have declared that Coriolis is a force? It isn't. When I described...
Yes, it is.
And now he's fundy muting me. When I described a hovering drone being pushed by me, you immediately reverted to a point of view on a non-inertial spinning reference frame. Now, I'm clearly detailing... And there he is again, fundy muting me. I'm clearly detailing a force being applied to the drone. Now, that force moves it in its coordinate position. In its system.
Yes.
Yeah. Rumpus, you are basically incapable of shutting your fucking mouth.
But you're just repeating yourself. This is the 10th time you said this. We all know what you said, and you're not interested in an answer.
And finished.
I'll answer your
and
question
finished.
if you give me a
and
moment.
Finished. Still,
You just keep
still,
on
still
repeating
justifying
the
his
same thing 10
interruptions.
times.
Still justifying his interruptions rather than letting me finish.
You have finished. You've finished 10 times.
No, I hadn't. I've just told you that I haven't, and now you can't listen. You're deaf.
Yeah, you keep on saying you haven't, but you have.
No,
You've
no,
said the same
I'll
thing.
make it that clear as well.
Has ever managed to
I'll make that
finish
clear as well if
school
Arwen
with
will let me.
attitude.
Yeah, I, not you, decide when I've finished.
Well, you've said it 10 times, Nathan. Eventually, I've run out of time to deal with it.
Yeah, and every single
Do
time
you
I've
want an answer or not?
every single time I've
I can
attempted
give you
to,
an answer if you
and
want.
now you're talking. You've asked me a question.
Oh, jeez. No,
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
asked me a question. You've asked the question. I'm trying to answer it. Right. You've asked me about the drone being moved by a force in the reference frame of the Earth. Let's suppose the roundabout's on the Earth. Someone pushes it. Okay, that will move it. But the point is, from the reference frame of the roundabout.
No. You see, this is the problem and why I interrupt you, Rumpus. That I've pointed out that this is now the 10th time that you have, instead of detailing a force on the drone, you have immediately, for the 10th time, moved our position to looking at the drone and what it seems to do from your position on a non-inertial spinning reference frame, rather than addressing the fact that me pushing the drone isn't the same as it seeming to move from the roundabout. One seems to move, doesn't actually move, not a force being applied to it. The other does move because it has a force applied to it. Those two things are very different and declared to be the same by you.
No, they're not different from the perspective of the reference frame. It doesn't matter whether it is rotating or being pushed.
Christ, man.
It
One is a force,
from
the other
reference
is not a
frame of the
force. It just
roundabout. You see, I
looks
can't
like
finish
a
the bloody
force.
sentence, can I? You see, you're not interested in an answer, are you? So here we go. Yes, you go. Who the hell's shouting like crazy?
Yeah, he's saying from the drone.
Right, so from the reference frame of the Earth, and you.
That's the 11th time, right? You're begging the question that you've got a non-inertial spinning Earth, aren't you, Rumpus? Immediately.
Look, do you want to? So you're not interested in answering. You're not actually.
You begged the question.
You've asked me,
Well,
okay, let's go
you don't
to
like the logic. Oh, you
Jesus
scared?
Christ.
Are you scared of me
No,
pointing
I'm
out?
dealing with
Are you scared of me pointing out your
scenario
logical
with
fallacy? Are you scared of me pointing out your logical? He's scared. Scared of me pointing out his logical fallacy of begging the question. I'm going to try and point out his logical fallacy as begging the question, but he's scared of it. Scared of me pointing out his logical fallacy. He wants to claim interruptions. Yeah, you've used a logical fallacy, and I'm trying to point it out, but you won't let me. You've got to use the globe head friendly mute button, haven't you? I'm trying to point out your logical fallacy of begging the question, Rumpus, but it seems you want to friendly mute me. Yeah, I'm going to point out your logical fallacy with it, like you Rumpus this for the next 20 minutes. I don't care. I don't care. I like watching you squirm.
I'm gonna
Yeah, I'm
record
pointing
this
out your
and put
logical
it
fallacy
into
whether you like it or not.
elevator music.
You beg the question. You've automatically assumed that Earth is a non-inertial spinning reference frame in this example, haven't you, Rumpus?
How do my balls taste?
Oh, I see. Right, so here we go. So
How do my balls taste? Yeah, that long pause was him not answering. You begged the question, you fucking moron. You used a logical fallacy, you fucking moron. You assumed Earth was a non-inertial spinning reference frame in that example now, didn't you, Rumpus?
didn't you? You can add on me, Nathan. Is that all you can do?
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't offer an
Rumpus.
argument.
Yeah,
so all you can do is add hom and mute, isn't it? That's
No, I wasn't muted. You don't seem to get that I'm not muting you. You don't seem to get it, do you? No, I'm not. You're muting me. You don't seem to get what's going on here. Yeah, I've caught onto your game. Claim that he's muting me all the time. I'm not. That's the thing, Rumpus. I'm not. I'm just pointing out your logical fallacy, and you're obfuscating it. You're the one squirming and muting, Rumpus. And the audience knows it because you're doing it.
What you're talking about?
Yeah, you assumed
no
Earth.
idea what you're talking about.
Let's try and repeat it without him interrupting. Let's see if he can bear to hear the logical fallacy repeated. He can't bear it because he doesn't like to be proven to be wrong. So I'll try.
I haven't. So right. So Nathan, you pushed this drone. Yes, that exerts a force on the drone and it moves in response. But from the reference frame of the roundabout,
it's 12th time he's done it. 12th time. 12th time. 12th time he's fixed the frame of reference to the roundabout.
But
I said it at the beginning. I said it at the beginning. It's because he's got to beg the question of a non-inertial spinning reference frame. He's now moved back to trying to answer my question because I've asked a more awkward question. I pointed out that in his example, he has begged the question of a non-inertial spinning reference frame that is Earth. There was a long pause, a lot of obfuscation. He didn't answer. Now, for some reason, he does want to answer about the drone being pushed because I've pointed out that he's begged the question. His example of Earth will be a non-inertial spinning reference frame. Now, the fact that I pointed out only got a long pause, didn't get an answer because he knows it's correct.
A non-inertial spinning reference frame, you have to say what the observer sees, and the observer will see anything that's stationary with respect to space, and you're in a non-inertial spinning reference frame.
There it is! And you're in a non-inertial spinning reference frame. There it is. So he's begging the question in this example of an Earth that's a non-inertial spinning reference frame, precisely as I pointed out. Now, I don't normally highlight when I do and don't mute people, but it's overtly obvious when Rumpus is in because essentially I have to do it every single time I talk. So yes, I'm going to overtly point out that Rumpus is on mute because I pointed out that he will be fixing the camera to the roundabout so he can later assert that Earth is the non-inertial spinning reference frame. Ergo, all observations take place from a non-inertial spinning reference frame. Now, what that actually means is all of Rumpus's examples start with Earth as a spinning reference frame. That's begging the question. Now, about 3 weeks ago, Zanuck did this for the first time. We caught it and then pointed out that by fixing every example for Coriolis to a non-inertial spinning reference frame at all costs, like 6 people in the last 2 days have done. Rumpus, RC Meisty, Grim V, Blind Sniper, Brenda, and there was one other who I can't remember. But 6 people in the last 24 hours have insisted on fixing all examples of Coriolis to the non-inertial spinning reference frame, purely so they can do what Rumpus has just admitted to, which is beg the question that Earth from space is a spinning reference frame. So that's why this argument is what it is, and why I am going to concisely give that explanation, regardless of this going on constantly, regardless of Rumpus deciding that while I'm explaining this is what you should be receiving.
And a real force are effective.
See, so what he's doing is decided that me giving the concise summary at the end of this demolition, that he's going to 12 times he did it, I counted, 12 times when asked about what was being seen from the drone, he said, no, from the roundabout you will see. 12 times he did it. The other people who came here yesterday did the same thing. And the only reason was because he later went on to demand that we also beg the question for his example. Earth from space will be a spinning reference frame. That's what he's got to do. He's got to start every Coriolis argument with Earth as a spinning reference frame. And this is their route into begging the question. Fix all examples to the roundabout. Fix all examples to a spinning reference frame. Then all examples of Earth will start with the assumption that Earth is a spinning reference frame. So we've rumbled it. They've all tried it now. Rumpus typically doesn't come in here, but he's obviously seen this drowning ship being absolutely bombarded and the concise summaries, and it needs this
You
to
are
happen.
a moron.
It needs you are a moron to come over the top of me the entire time that I break this down for an audience. Yeah? That's what he needs to do. That's why he's here. To make sure that I don't concisely give this to an audience and that he says you're a moron
stupid
over
and
and over again. That's what he's here for.
You don't understand.
To the default now, Rumpus.
Yep, don't
Now
understand
it's
you're a
like
moron, you don't
moron.
understand you're a moron, over the top of me for the entire explanation. So I'll just say it one more time, I don't give a shit what Rumpus thinks. Yep, I'll shut him up, because I have to. Because when we rebut things, earlier, QE said you've used an affirming the consequent, if P then Q, Q therefore P. He ignored it completely, talked while he said that, so in the hope that the audience wouldn't hear the fact that it was pointed out he used logical fallacy, and then he'll spend 20 minutes trying to be penned down on his use of logical fallacy rather than his argument. And then when it comes to getting some cowbell for his argument, he repeats the claim again. So the whole process starts over again. That's all he's got. And then when we get to the point where his assertion that Coriolis force is actually a force working on things, he will refuse to describe what's happening to a drone when I push it versus what happens from his frame of reference if you're looking at it on the roundabout, which is all he'll do 12 times. That is done so that they can assume Earth is spinning. That's what this has been about the whole time. The whole convoluted nonsense about whether or not it's in an inertial or a non-inertial, whether atmosphere's travelling with Earth or not travelling with Earth. All of these arguments, every single one always started with Earth spinning. It was the assumption the entire time. So like with the Earth curve calculator, when they love arguing about it, man, because immediately once we're into using that calculator, we're into begging the question. Well, that's where we're going to draw a line under this with Coriolis from now on. No. This will be the last time this ever happens. No one will ever be permitted to beg the question of an Earth that spins, with an example of Coriolis, ever again. The 6 monkeys that have come here in the last 24 hours have all had their ass handed to him in the same way and exposed how this tactic works. What has got to be done in order to obfuscate the fact that they're going to be begging the question of a spinning ball Earth?
It's non-stop, Rumpus.
Well, but you must have heard Nathan's non-stop as well, then.
Yeah, he's saying I'm talking non-stop while he's basically Discord rumpusing. I'm not letting him do that, but he won't let anybody in the Discord server hear either. That's their only. That's their what saving grace. Discord won't hear me. Say again, QE.
Is it time for him to go?
All that's happening is he's stopping the Discord server from hearing anything that's being said.
Right. Is it time for him to go? It's up to you.
I would say so. I've got no further use for him. He's admitted what I needed him to admit.
I vote yes.
Okay.
We have no further use of him. Execute him.
Yeah.
I tried to get a shameless plug-in for about an hour and 20 minutes. I couldn't do it. I left.
Sorry. I wanted something out of Rumpus. I wanted to see how deep this argument went. It goes to all of them, basically. They're all on the same page with this argument.
And just to let you know, as soon as you went to the after show, there was 12 people in the live show. It jumped to 44 people immediately.
Okay, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
That means they wait till the show's over, right? And then they jump in when you go off air to friggin' advance their bullshit, not live.
That's not true, man. I mean, I support Nathan by watching his stream, and when he's going offline, I just come into the Discord.
That's fair enough. That's why we have the after show, because we know there's a lot of people that just come in to listen because they don't have time later or whatever and want to hear what's being said in the after show. Fair enough. So that's why
99% of the people jump in here, these baltards, in the after show and just wait until the show's over and then start with their nonsense.
Right. The rebound
That's
effect.
100%
They're just
accurate.
waiting to override it all with their own nonsense. Totally correct. And they do it all the time. They let us finish. They let us finish the whole show, hours if necessary. One argument over and over again, as clear as it can get. And then afterward, they just erase the tape and play their standard nonsense all over it again, like the whole thing never happened. And they do this every day.
No, that won't happen anymore. Today is the death of this Coriolis argument.
I told this garbage to Zanuck weeks ago on Discord. I told him there's going to be a point where this argument, which is already begging the question, is going to be done. Because you're going to have to prove the Earth is spinning before we even talk about this. This entire argument is begging a question fallacy.
Yep.
It's nonsense.
But there's nothing preventing them from forgetting it again. I'm serious.
Well, we got the Pontiff Maximus of Retardia here. Hey, George, that dog is smarter than you dumbass. Come off mute and share your pain.
No shit.
Sorry, I was on the phone call with a customer. What do you want?
Yeah, sure. What do we want?
Well, this is, in the middle of the business day for me there, John. I don't know about you, but
then why did you
I'm
come
very
into the hangout
actively
there,
working
George?
every day. So
friggin'
I do
clown.
have things to do, and I do have customers
then
that
why'd
call
you
me
come in
that
the
I do
hangout?
need to, say
Shut
what?
up.
Yeah, why did you come then? If you're at work.
He's become flat Earth debate dependent, just a function. of
I have
working.
it playing in the background. I sometimes like listening to your nonsense.
Oh, I see. That dedicated, eh?
It's kind of
Oh, really,
entertaining.
Mr.
I have
Closed
some
Thermos
friends
is
come
an
over
open
and they
system.
listen, and we all have a good belly
Listen
laugh
to
over
nonsense.
it.
What about
It's
your
really quite
nonsense,
amusing.
Mr. Closed System Open Thermos? Right? You dumbass.
It depends. No, in a thermodynamic sense, closed thermos,
disciplines have
closed
different
thermos is
definitions
a
for
closed
closed,
system,
open, and
but in the
isolated systems, right? I already pummeled your dumbass, George.
Oh no, you have no idea what you're talking
Oh,
about.
yeah,
You have to
yeah.
determine.
You
You have
Brian
to.
Mullen. You friggin' tried to
You have to
pipe
decide which
Brian Mullen
discipline,
for
which
no
definition
reason.
of open and
You're a
closed you're
piece
going to
of
use.
shit.
In the thermodynamic
You're a
sense,
piece
or
of shit.
open and
If I
closed is
found you
different
on the side of the
than
road,
in an
I'd reach
engineering
my
or a
hand
chemical
down and
engineering
rip your
sense. So,
fucking lungs
you
out.
have to specify which
Yeah, you're a
definitions that you
clown.
want to use for open and closed, John.
Hey, go back to your
Brian
customer.
Mullen. George, Brian Mullen.
The thermodynamic
You
sense,
backstabbing
you can
piece of
have
shit,
energy
you.
transfers, but you can't have
Because
mass
you
transfers.
don't
But
understand the
in an
Coriolis
engineering
effect
sense,
either. What's
you
the
are not
Coriolis effect,
allowed
George?
also to have
Define
energy
the
transfers.
Coriolis
So
effect, George.
if you have something like a thermos that you close up and you have
Oh,
energy
my God.
transfers,
Define
then we
the
would call
Coriolis
that
effect,
an
George.
open system
Oh,
in
I'm
an
gonna shut
engineering.
him up. George, listen. Define the Coriolis effect. We're well beyond your closed thermos is an open system idiocy, right? We want you to define the Coriolis effect. Go.
What about the Coriolis effect?
Oh my God.
I'm doing some videos on them. I'm making. I'll
Oh,
be
yeah,
making
I'm
a
sure they're
video
lining
here
up
in the
for
next,
those ones.
week or
The
so.
whole retard
I'm working
community.
through some examples. I'm going to first do a video
Shut
on.
the hell up. Let's move on. Who else we got in here?
I don't know.
I'm looking. Branch.
John,
What's that?
Say again, chocolate.
John, you should tell him.
Go ahead, chocolate.
Today you didn't know what science was.
We didn't hear you, chocolate. Say that one more time.
No, I said you should tell them the little story about how Mr. McWestian 2D space didn't know what science was yesterday.
Oh yeah, I caught.
Didn't know what an experiment was yesterday.
I caught pseudo McWestian 2 space in 24/7 yesterday, and pulled down his pants and spanked his little behind. It's classic. I got it on tape. I'll be releasing it here over the next week or so.
Awesome.
Yeah, he got smashed.
Yeah, it was nice. He got passed around like it was just hilarious.
Today's the day, coincidentally, Mick West being mentioned. So Mick West came in on the tail end of us essentially figuring out where the begging the question proof of nothing hijacking Earth curve calculator was doing precisely that. And then after the fact, when it was basically done and dusted, we'd already figured out their game. That's when they all piled in, Mick West included, trying to defend, the last dying breaths of what is now the corpse of the Earth curve calculator begging the question fallacy. Well, now we're at the tail end of exactly the same thing with Coriolis. The entire game, the whole process, all of the arguments, it being forces, not forces, the arguing about reference frames, the overriding purpose is to get to the point where they beg the question of an Earth that spins. So that, like bloody every single globe argument ever, they can affirm the consequent.
Yeah, I got him on a whole bunch of issues: light, particles, waves, refraction, terrestrial refraction. This clown was talking about he was a science communicator and didn't even know what a friggin' experiment was. Wait till you hear it, Nathan.
Can't wait. Mick West's a complete clown. No, also I heard doing the same thing. I think it might have been on 24/7 as well. that M. Scott Veach guy. I'm sure I mentioned it on the other show.
Oh yeah, he's definite certifiable retard. You know what that retard does too?
Begs the question of terrestrial refraction. Assumes R.
No, he calls up universities and institutions to get them to change or take down their citations.
I don't know about that, but
oh yeah, I caught him.
Certainly hear them using the same old tired arguments, begging the question.
I'll tell you what,
reifying Earth curve edges.
I'm going to take the Pontiff Maximus of Retardia off mute. I got a question for him. You guys want to entertain this?
Yeah, I got about 10
What
minutes
happened
left.
to what happened to Branch?
We'll leave Branch. Just hold on a second. We want George, the Pontiff Maximus of Retardia, to answer this question. All right, George, you listening?
I'll forget it, John, because you mute me. I'm not going to.
Okay, fuck you. we got a question. Oh, there's M. Scott Veach.
Oh, what a coincidence.
Yeah, he's on. There he is. Come on, Scott, share your pain. I got the same question for you. How much of a dumbass are you, true or false? No, that's not the question. Here's the question, M. Scott Veach. You have a drone and the controller in your hand, right? You go to a playground with your buddies, and there's a roundabout. So you get on the roundabout's not spinning yet. You go to the center of the roundabout, and you have all your friends start spinning you around. So you're on the axis, right? And you hit the drone into hover mode right above your head. Then while the roundabout is spinning, you move to the rim, and now you are spinning. You are rotating. Is the drone that you sent up hovering in the same reference frame you are, or in a different reference frame? Thanks. Yoo-hoo! Essay!
Oh, I forgot to say, John. Mr. Scott wants to debate you and Nathan.
We're right here!
Yeah, I think he's here for that debate now, or something.
I've been talking to him for the past 3 minutes.
He thinks that you and Nathan and Anthony and you three won't be able to debate him or something like that.
Is a retard.
Does he need a spokesperson, or can he tell us himself?
Yes, because he wanted me to ask. I forgot to. I said to Anthony, but I think I did say it to you, John, as well before. I may have even said to you as well, Nathan. But
it's like
he
Elmer
wants a
Fudd
debate with
Tiger
you three.
Woods. He's a clown.
He's here now. He's just not responded.
Yeah,
to
he's here
anything.
now. You know his father's been to space, so he can verify it.
No, he
can
hasn't.
verify the globe, space,
No, he
and
hasn't.
these places.
No, he hasn't.
So
His
he's gonna
father
walk
has not
through
been
them
to
publicly.
space. No, he has not. He hasn't visited a
Yeah,
place
his
that
dad's
doesn't
an
exist.
astronaut, Nathan.
That's just a lie. He was lied to by his father. I already stated this to him last time he came here. No, his father's a liar.
well,
he was quite
he
content.
has evidence.
Spurs!
He has, what is
Spurs, can you shut up?
Spurs!
Can you shut up, please, Spurs? I explained this
Well,
to M.
I'm
Scott
just
Veach. No, he can't. I explained this to him last time he came here. His father is a liar. He lied to his son. That would be this man who's in the chat room, not unmuting, who apparently wants to debate us. His father lied to him. He has not visited Narnia, aka space, a second law of thermodynamics violation. No, that's not what his father did. He was just lied to, overtly, by his own father. Sad though that might be, embarrassing though it might be for me to point it out to him, his father is a liar.
I mean, I'm not trying to speak for him, but he would say all of NASA, all of
Then
science,
don't.
all
Then
of
just
these
go on mute,
engineers.
Spurs. Then don't. Just let there be silence while he doesn't address me. While he doesn't address
Come on,
the
Mr.
fact.
Scott. Look, you're here now. Nathan's here. John's here. You've been saying in Jen that you want to debate them.
Spurs. You're not his spokesperson. Yeah. So he doesn't have to address anything. He's told you apparently that he's come here to debate
Look, he's
us.
saying it in the chat now, Nathan. Look, he says in the chat, I would love to debate them.
He's here now. Shh, I just need you to shut up, Spurs. Thank you, Spurs. So he's here now, and we've heard his debating tactics. He uses begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking curve calculators, and 7/6R when describing to his opponents what refraction is. So he's just another person who uses begging the question fallacies and calculators and models. He also goes on his father's lies that there's a place you can travel to that violates the second law of thermodynamics. So based on his father's lies and his fallacy, he thinks he can win a debate with us. He's not coming off mute. Maybe he'd like to address some of the things I've just levelled at him.
M. Scott Veach, come off mute, you clown. And answer these claims against you. I just detailed one. Is there any... He's not going to come off mute, obviously, Nathan. Any Baltard, you guys just heard the scenario. Is the drone in a separate reference frame than you are? Anyone? Any Baltard?
My question is, why...
My question is... Not your question, my question.
Unless it's clarity on your question. Are you asking specifically for something in regards to this scenario, Highlander?
Yes, it is.
Then feel free. Please let him ask his question, QE.
Oh, my.
So, QE, tell me, why is the roundabout spinning so fast?
What?
What does this have to do with it?
His friends was pushing it.
What's his question? And
Yeah, but if
Nathan,
he's
what did
comparing
he
that
say?
to the spin of the Earth, then it shouldn't be spinning that.
Hold on, let's get clarity. Start again, Highlander. Go ahead.
I said, if he's comparing it to the spin of the Earth, then it shouldn't be spinning.
Sorry, if he's comparing it to the spin of the Earth.
He's been
Right, the Earth's
attacking him on begging the question.
Well, the Earth is spinning much faster than
isn't.
the roundabout. So
No, it
what's your
isn't.
point?
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Sorry, I just need you to repeat that, Highlander. Did you say in comparison to a spinning Earth? Like pulling teeth.
The Earth in their paradigm, let me make it clear. The Earth in their paradigm is spinning at 1,037 miles per hour at the equator. How about that? Is that better?
Not really.
That roundabout is not
That's the
spinning at
tangential.
1,000 miles an hour
That's
on the road.
not the actual. Yeah.
What is your question? Oh my God.
Like pulling teeth.
He said his question had bearing on QE's question. And after hearing it, it had no bearing on QE's question.
No. Didn't specify speed of the roundabout. Yesterday I did. I said 15 degrees an hour just for a joke, making it very slow.
And that's what it should be.
What's the point of the question?
Can you drop out and come back in and try this again?
I just don't think he's got a valid point, otherwise he'd just be repeating it 4 times. Concisely, but that's not what we're getting. It just doesn't seem to have any bearing.
Let's give him one more chance. QE, summarize your question again and give him one more chance.
The summary is, are there 2 separate reference frames between you, who are rotating on the roundabout, and the drone, which is hovering above the roundabout? Simple as that.
But they're obviously 2 different reference.
There's your answer.
Thank you.
I don't even understand why you had to even ask that question.
Well, because if there are 2 separate reference frames and the roundabout is spinning underneath the drone, then a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to LA at 500 miles an hour will take 1.5 hours. Should take 1.5 hours. It doesn't. It takes 4.5 hours. Why?
Because Earth's not spinning underneath it.
Because the Earth is not spinning as fast as you think it is.
1,000 miles an hour at the equator.
And 860 miles an hour between Charlotte, North Carolina, and Los Angeles.
No, that's not.
Because they're roughly on the same latitude line.
No, that's a mile per hour. It's not a tangential speed.
It's miles per hour.
Do you not know the difference between the two?
Are you talking to me?
No. He said, no, that's a tangential speed. And I've said, no, that's miles per hour. Do you not know the difference between the two? Long pause.
Right, so you're saying that the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour?
That's not the question. Do you notice how every time there's a long pause, the question that's being asked gets ignored and a new question gets tabled? I'll ask the question again. Do you not know the difference between a tangential velocity and an angular velocity versus an actual mile per hour speed?
No, the 1,000 miles per hour is a tangential speed, Nathan.
It is.
Right.
Now, back to get him back on the question. Why does it take 4.5 hours when it should take 1.5 hours if the Earth was rotating, is my question.
Because the Earth is moving at 15 degrees per hour.
There it is. Told you. So that would be an angular speed.
Yeah, and that's not very fast at all.
Sorry.
Just because you say...
Hold on. Am I having an acid flashback or what? So I just said, do you not know the difference between the two? And I use your term incorrectly. Hold on, Chocolate. Chocolate, hold on. So do you not know the difference between... Let's get the terminology correct this time.
Angular velocity and tangential speed.
Thank you. Angular velocity, 15 degrees an hour, versus the tangential velocity, miles per hour.
In other words, RPMs versus speed. In other words, you're conflating RPMs versus speed.
Yeah, RPM versus MPH. So you're saying it's very slow? Well, no, it isn't. It's got a mile per hour speed of 1,000 at the equator, and in this example with a flight, it's about 800 and something miles per hour that the actual rim speed of the planet, claimed to be planet, is supposed to be going. Now, the example that QE's laid down is to separate the reference frames for a roundabout and a drone, and the second you give them separate reference frames, and Earth is claimed to be spinning, then the drone suddenly doesn't have a different reference frame that's attached to Earth. It's in a separate reference frame. Ergo, Earth's supposed to be rotating underneath it. And it isn't.
Precisely.
It does.
It does. Then why don't we have a 1.5 hour flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles?
Sorry, I'll change the parameter slightly, John. I'm really sorry to do this to you. I know you just made your example and I'm stealing it and changing it. Okay.
That's all right. Go ahead.
So, same example. You've got a drone on a roundabout. It takes off. Highlander concedes that it's in a second separate reference frame to the roundabout. Are you okay to go from here, Highlander?
Yeah.
So it's in a second reference frame. Why isn't the roundabout moving away from the drone?
Because
that's a good one.
You want me to repeat the question?
The drone's hold the roundabout spinning underneath and everything's rotating with the Earth. It's not hard to understand.
Sorry, you've just made it plain. It's in a second reference frame and is demonstrating presumably Coriolis effect if you're on the roundabout spinning underneath it. Now I want to know, given that the drone's in the inertial reference frame, which we've already conceded, and Earth's claimed to be a non-inertial spinning reference frame, why isn't the roundabout moving away from the drone at the rate that Earth spins?
If the roundabout is spinning at 15 degrees per hour, then what you would measure would be so minute it's negligible.
It's not. We just explained this to you. Angular velocity, i.e. RPMs, have nothing whatsoever to do with tangential speed or miles per hour.
Okay,
Is there something confusing about that?
Let's try it again for him. This roundabout's on the equator. It's moving, according to the ball Earth rhetoric, at 1,000 miles per hour. Let's not worry about the angular speed. It's moving at 1,000 miles an hour. The roundabout, we've already conceded, it's in the inertial reference frame. Now, why isn't the roundabout moving away from that drone at 1,000 miles an hour?
Because everything moves with the Earth.
No. It's in an inertial reference frame, and Earth is claimed to be a non-inertial reference frame. Those are two reference frames that are claimed globe Earth has. So no, we've already got to the point that you made it plain. It's in two reference frames under a roundabout. So what you're saying is when we describe Earth as being the non-inertial spinning reference frame, suddenly we don't have deviation. Well, that means Earth's not spinning, because there would be. The drone's in an inertial reference frame and Earth's claimed to be a non-inertial reference frame. So you can be damn sure that that roundabout should be moving away from that drone at 1,000 miles an hour, but it just isn't. All that proves is Earth is not spinning.
Yeah, but that's like saying if I'm sitting in the front of a car going at 60 miles an hour and I throw a ball up in the air, that ball should hit the back of the car at 60 miles an hour.
Sorry, we're not talking about cars, Highlander. Highlander.
System, Highlander.
He's into squirm mode. He's into squirm and spew. Squirm and spew. We're not talking about cars. We're talking about a drone and a roundabout. The drone leaves the roundabout and it enters the inertial reference frame. Now, it's not suddenly going to change if you decide that you're going to say, or beg the question, let's be plain about it, that Earth is a non-inertial spinning reference frame. That's what the claim of globe Earth has. Earth is claimed to be a non-inertial spinning reference frame. Well, the drone is in the inertial reference frame. Therefore, the roundabout on the equator should disappear away from that drone at the rate of speed that it's claimed to be going. There's claimed to be Coriolis effect. That's what Coriolis effect is. But we don't see that. That doesn't happen. Proving Earth is stationary.
No, because it goes round with the Earth.
No, that's not. No. No. Highlander. No. That's not what Coriolis effect is. Coriolis effect isn't the projectile travelling with the inertial, non-inertial spinning reference. That's not what Coriolis effect is. So, do I need to explain what Coriolis effect is? Because it's claimed globe Earth has Coriolis effect. And you're saying, no, it will go with the Earth. That's in defiance of Coriolis effect. So you're wrong, and I'm happy to explain why, if you can tolerate it, without moving to speedboats and trains or anything else that's not a roundabout on a claim to be spinning Earth, with a drone above it in the inertial reference frame, and the roundabout not fucking off at 1,000 miles an hour.
How high up do you have to go for Coriolis to take effect?
You don't have to go high at all. The moment the drone leaves the roundabout, i.e. it's no longer attached to the spinning roundabout, it's no longer attached to the spinning roundabout. So instantaneously, as soon as it leaves it, it's in the inertial reference frame, because it's not attached to the non-inertial reference frame. In the same way, it's also not attached to a claim to be spinning ball Earth. But it's not disappearing, the roundabout, at 1,000 miles an hour, is it? It'll just hover there, proving Earth is not a non-inertial spinning reference frame. Earth's stationary.
I'm just trying to find the evidence for the Coriolis effect to actually take effect. You need to go above 10,000 feet. That's why you won't see any deviation from a helicopter, because helicopters don't go above.
So then, why
10,000
does
feet.
Neil deGrasse Tyson say it can affect the football being kicked into a field goal?
It's not Neil deGrasse. No. Sorry. What you're saying is you have to reach a certain altitude for Coriolis to take effect. Let's just go through this mentally with you, Highlander. Drone and roundabout. So you've got the drone, its engines are running, but it's still sat on the roundabout while it's spinning slowly. When you push the up stick, does it need to ascend to a few meters before the roundabout starts drifting underneath it? Or does it start drifting underneath it the moment it leaves the roundabout? You tell me.
Well, if the roundabout is spinning at 15 degrees per hour, then no, you're not going to see any deviation whatsoever. You'd need to sit there for several hours before you would see any deviation, and by then the drone would run out of power.
Oh, so you would see it.
Yeah, you would see deviation. So what you're saying is you would see deviation.
The amount of deviation you would see.
Excuse me.
So minute.
Yeah, you're going to repeat your claim over the top of me, aren't you? Go on then. Repeat your claim, because I'm deaf, obviously. No? So, no. As soon as it leaves the roundabout, regardless if it's 1 degree an hour, it's not about the quantity of deviation. It's the fact that there is some. It's a qualitative, not quantitative deviation. There is some. The moment it lifts away from the spinning roundabout. Are you saying, no, actually, it moves along with the roundabout if it's only moving at 1 degree an hour? Suddenly, it will move along with something it's not attached to. Is that what you're saying? Because that would be wrong. It will immediately deviate.
Well, the drone is not going to spin with the roundabout, but the roundabout and the drone will spin with the Earth.
I've asked about the Earth. Sorry,
hell?
excuse me. This is what a retard does when he's heard other more competent debaters get to the point where they need to beg the question of Earth spinning. Yeah, Highlander, you're not as competent as Rumpus to be able to segue to your begging the question fallacy so soon. So let's not get there yet. I appreciate that in this argument, the whole point of this argument is so that you can do what you've just done and say, no, but Earth's automatically spinning in my examples. Yet we've absolutely hammered this. And I'm not even going to add you to the list of fucktards because you did it in such a poor way. So, we'll start again with you conceding that the moment a drone leaves the roundabout, it starts to deviate. I.e., the roundabout continues moving underneath it the instant it leaves that platform. Doesn't it?
But compared to the roundabout, yes, it will.
Okay. That's all I need. That's all I need. I don't need your fucking diatribe. Shut up. Yeah. So it will deviate the instant it leaves the roundabout. Now I'd like you to explain to me how in holy fuck you'd have to ascend to 10,000 meters for this to happen on a claim to be spinning Earth, given that it instantaneously happens in all examples of Coriolis deviation, without exception. You want me to repeat the question?
Well, it's quite clear to see it in hurricanes and tornadoes.
Shut up. I'm not talking about hurricanes. Why do you keep segueing? Don't segue onto a different red herring topic. You've just conceded. I'll summarise again, because he's segued away. Typical baller tactic. Just stay on topic. So, you declared that in your rhetoric, you'd have to ascend in order to start seeing Coriolis deviation. Now, you've simultaneously conceded that in your example with a roundabout, it happens the moment it leaves the rotating platform. These two things contradict each other. One is factually
Nathan Oakley, you're a cunt. Nathan Oakley, you are a cunt.
Who's saying that? It's not a rebuttal. That's an ad hom. Not even an ad hom, just an insult, because I'm not putting anything to you. So whoever's got Tourette's, shut up. Highlander, you've conceded that it will deviate the moment it leaves a roundabout, but yet in your rhetoric you think it has to ascend to a certain height before we'll see deviation. That's wrong. We just don't see any deviation on Earth.
Because we were talking about an example of a roundabout and a drone only. Yeah. If you're having this roundabout and drone on the Earth, then that's a completely different story.
Why? Because the Earth is rotating beneath it. Come on, SA. We're waiting for some cowbell. Why?
Because the Earth rotates and everything rotates with the Earth.
I figured. Thank you. Begging the question fallacy. This guy's done.
Not a one of them can even get out the gate.
Nope.
Someone was at my door.
There's a horse race going on, and the ballers seem to be laying.
He just invoked that the Earth was spinning underneath the roundabout that was spinning. Just a circle jerk.
Didn't I just pull that apart 10 seconds ago? He's not adept enough to be able to lead us to the point where he begs that question. So doing it overtly is just going to annoy us, Highlander. I'm trying to get you to concede the rhetoric that you gave us in regards to having to travel up to a certain altitude for this effect to take place, when simultaneously you've already conceded that it happens the moment you leave a spinning, non-inertial reference frame, i.e. the roundabout with the drone. No? Nothing?
No, nothing. He's finished. All right. Any more bald tards want to take a shot at the title?
I was only away 2 minutes. Has he completely given up already?
Yeah.
Unreal.
It's just another example of cognitive dissonance.
All right. Any other bald tards? We have 44 people in here. You've heard the scenario. The drone and the roundabout. Is the drone, when the drone takes off and hovers above the roundabout, is the drone in the inertial reference frame that is pointing out that there are two separate reference frames? Yes or no?
Good question. Very good.
Yeah, you already heard the punchline, so you damn sure ain't going to say a word, are you? I got you by the balls again. Yeah, they're not going to say anything. You got 47 people in here. A good percentage of ballers. Hey, Nathan. After the show's over, don't go, man. I need 2 minutes. Roger?
I've got a screaming kid for a sec. I want to draw a conclusion in terms of the begging the question that is Coriolis effect at the end, so I want to wait till my kid's calm enough for me to make it concisely without interruption.
Okay.
But hopefully there's not dead air in the meantime.
Yeah, go ahead, Travis. Go ahead, Travis.
Oh, I actually just was recognizing Fuzz Ewok had a question. Oh.
Fuzz Ewok had a question. He's off mute. Go ahead, Fuzz. All righty then.
Come on, surely more of you can represent this argument better than people like Zanuck and Brenda and Rumpus. I mean, are you going to let these people say air is not atmosphere and shoes are phenomena? You're going to let them represent you?
Chocolate.
I'd be a
He was in
damn
the
shame
middle
if
of
that was
asking
me.
something, though.
You
Say
good?
that again? Anyone? Anyone?
Yeah, we hear you, Chocolate.
Oh, okay.
There's a dude in Discord that wanted to address Chocolate, but he just doesn't repeat what he said.
It's Fuzz Ewok. Nope, nobody. 44 people in here. 45. Sorry, we added one.
Can you guys hear the person on the Discord trying to ask a question?
No, I can hear you though. Was somebody trying to ask a question and we can't hear him? Maybe I've got to reset my Discord. Let me just try. I'll disappear for a second.
Probably we're not hearing you because Chocolate, like, you were in the middle of the sentence and Chocolate just wouldn't interrupt you with them.
That's, I'm driving, so I don't know if that's part of what I don't know.
You're coming in clear. Let's just wait till they can hear you and recognize you.
We got you. We got you. We can hear you fine.
Okay, hi. So, quick. So, it's not really dealing to Coriolis, but it's sort of anyone. It's about NASA, and somebody had a quote. I can't remember if it was Jeranism or someone here, or if it was one of Huey's presentations about someone. I think it was Gene Kranz in NASA talking about how their simulations were so close to actual missions, quote unquote, that you couldn't really tell the difference. And I was wondering where that quote was, because my dad is having trouble grasping the fact that NASA is not telling us the truth, because it turns out that he's one of those zealots you always keep talking about. I was wondering where that quote was. It's hard now that Google has sort of not made it easy to find this information anymore. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Let's see if we can get a response.
And I know it's also part of begging the question, and it's within their own fallacy, but if we could somehow untie it from their own town, just to show people, because it's amazing what you present it right in front of their face and they just don't see it. It's like one of those magic eyes where some people see it in 2D, some people see it in 3D, and it's the same thing, but you can't see the other version of it.
Yeah. What's your name?
Fuzzy Ewok.
Okay, Fuzzy Ewok. Everyone's heard your claim here. Let's see if somebody can find it out. If they do, if I snatch it up, then I'll send you a personal message. How about that?
That'd be great. I thought it was, I've been listening for hours, all of these years now, and it sort of gets lost in the haze.
Do you appreciate the debunking we use in that regard, though?
Say again, I didn't catch that.
Sure. So, most of those sorts of arguments get very rapidly bypassed by pointing out that you can't have a sky vacuum. The second law of thermodynamics.
Oh, I absolutely appreciate that. Oh, no, that makes perfect sense to me. But when you're trying to show that to someone who's so grew up with the moon landing, they're like, no, they can't see. It's so easily obvious, but they just can't see it cognitively, or they just don't want to see it because they've already made up their mind. It's just, hey, it's a government organization that's probably not telling you the truth. Why? How do you not see this? It's right there. But
yeah, but what Nathan is trying to say is
from within itself.
What Nathan is trying to say is, why go into NASA? Why go into what people say when you can just say, "Hey, Dad, can you show me gas pressure without a container?"
Yeah, well, it's gravity does it. I mean, when you're talking to a zealot, this is the level of what I'm just realizing that he is now a zealot. He's too stubborn for his own good. Both my parents are teachers. They're not going to question it at that level, and they're like assuming that it's the other way around. And he has a friend who worked at NASA, and he's a guy, and Are you saying that he's one of the smartest people I've ever met, and you're saying that they can be fooled and blah, blah, blah? Well, yeah, that's how they would do it if their missions were exactly the same as quote unquote, simulations, then that's exactly how you can get fooled. And if you can see it from within your own argument.
Let's go back to your gravity point and ask him, when he goes out to his tire on his car and he depresses the valve, does the air come rushing out, or does gravity hold it in the tire?
We've been in circles for months now, and I've brought up everything. I've been listening to this show since 500 some odd, and I don't know where the circle is. What? Say again?
I don't know where the circle is. That ends the argument right there.
You've kind of answered your own question.
It doesn't matter how many times I repeat it and however many examples. I've told him you're affirming the consequent, 600 times. He just.
Well, then you move on.
You know what the problem is? He might never really get it. Some people just are not going to get this, and some people don't want to. They've been around so long with this in their minds the way it has been.
And it's like, yeah. If you have to want to understand, you can show them as many videos as you want, or as many different proofs as you want. There's always an answer for but because NASA and because gravity and because all of these things, it's like, well, yeah, the Earth is, the air is moving with the Earth, and the Earth is not. They don't see it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. They can just hand wave the one demolition, but if they don't accept the one demolition, then it won't happen.
Yeah, telling him about NASA and their lies isn't going to work. If you went through everything else, I'd just move on.
Yeah,
I am, but it's my dad, so it's sort of like I still have to talk to him all the time,
I get it.
It's going to be it's a
so
tough one.
I'm just thinking of other ways to sort of just give a little question every once in a while, if that could be. He actually said, I'd love to hear that quote about the fact that they're basically the same thing and they can't tell the difference. And if I could find that might be one more chip in the, one more piece off to get to the actual root of it all, so he can see it, because he is fairly smart, but it's almost too smart for his own good.
I think it's Jeranism.
So keep asking him. I'm sorry, Nathan.
I was just going to say, I think it's Jeranism that has that quote, but you declared at the outset, you were like, well, he seems like what you describe as a zealot. Well, that's unfortunate, but true. And indoctrinated zealotry is what we're dealing with, but I wouldn't necessarily pick something to chip away at him with, because you'll just drive him away. At the point that you realise that he's just invested in this religion, then you just have to accept that. Because he'll just distance himself from you if you keep chipping away at him. If you've appreciated that what he's demonstrating is zealotry, going forward to point out that it's zealotry, maybe describing what a religion is and how that will just piss him off, and you don't want that.
That's what I'm coming to terms with at this point. It's like, it's not worth the argument. You can still do your thing, whatever. It's I don't know. There's not much more you can say.
The chances are, though,
Hold on,
if you drop the subject,
you're trying to make, when you run simulations, is that not the whole point of running the simulations, to get them almost exactly how it would happen in real life, so that when you go and do these things, you know exactly what's going to happen?
What simulation are you talking about?
If that's how you can fool an entire group of mission control people, all of their monitors doing their good work, that's how you fool them. It's when someone asks, well, how could you fool all the thousands of people at NASA and all the different people? It's all compartmentalized, and that's how you do fool people. And that's the whole point. If they can't tell if it's a real mission or a fake one, then that's how they can get away with it. It's where's the proof? How would anyone know any different?
It needs contextualizing, because obviously Chocolate's just asked the question. Sorry to interrupt. So what's being detailed is the people that you see on TV at Mission Control when they send up a shuttle, for example, they're looking at monitoring stats of whatever. And when they run the simulations, the numbers that they throw up on those monitoring screens are identical to the numbers that they see thrown up when they're claiming to do the mission itself. Now, the point that's being made is, You can't tell the difference. You wouldn't know if it was just the simulation running again. That's the point that's being made. Now you're saying, well, wouldn't you run simulations to get it right as accurately? Well, yeah, you would. But the point that's being made is that if you can't tell the difference between both, in other words, if you're running a simulator of a fighter craft, and then when you actually get into the real fighter craft, what you're presented with is the same virtual cockpit and CGI screen, you're like, hang on, this isn't any different to the simulation. Well, they go, oh, yeah, we've got cameras. You don't need to see through the windows, for example. If you can't tell the difference, how do you know that you're not just running another simulation? That's the point.
Right. And while they are sitting there watching simulations or whatever they are watching on their screens, that's the next part of the joke, is that we're sitting there watching them watching their screens. And then we see them clapping and we think they did something.
Is that not what they do with spy drones?
With what, sorry?
Yeah. They don't actually have a pilot in the spy drone. And it's just someone sat in a room controlling the drone.
Good example. Perfect example. That's better than my example. Thank you. So you train to be a pilot of a drone, and you're watching what is like a VR arcade racer style, run in a simulator with all the actuators, and it's shaking you around and stuff. And then they go, okay, well, now you've done enough simulator runs for us to actually get you to fly one. And they stick you in what looks like exactly the same simulator. And they just say, well, this time, there's actually a drone going up. Now, you don't know that a drone's actually gone up because your experience is identical to the simulation. Great example. Thank you, Highlander.
It's almost like Ender's Game, right? That sci-fi Ender's Game.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of the simulations, is it not?
No. If you've got by comparison, if you've got a jet fighter, a guy who's going to go into battle in a jet, and he's training in a simulator, and it's in front of 3 plasma screens, and he's got his arcade-style joystick, and according to them, it's exactly the same as what he'll experience when he actually gets in the jet. Likewise, you could have an F1 racer who's running a simulator that's run off a PlayStation, and they say it's really accurate. It's just like when you're racing with all these actuators, shakes you around just like when you get in the car. But then he gets in a car and does it, and he knows the difference. Whereas in this example, with NASA and their engineers and their monitors, they literally do not and cannot tell the difference between which one's acclaimed simulation and which one's the real thing. To their eyes, it is identical.
I mean, there's certain things that a simulation can't simulate, like the G-force that you would feel.
Yeah, but the people in the NASA, they're not in the rocket or the shuttle or anything else. They're at mission control.
The point of this is that the argument this chap, I've forgotten his name already, said he's having with his dad is that his dad knows people who know people who've, got a former tennis partner that worked at NASA. And therefore, if they're saying they ran a program that sent something up to a second law of thermodynamics violation, then they are to be trusted. The point that he wants to make to his father is, no, the people who say, yeah, they worked at NASA and tracked this ship going up to the second law of thermodynamics sky vacuum, wouldn't know the difference between a simulation and the real thing, because they're the same. That's the point he's trying to make.
And is that the same for all 72 space agencies?
None of them go to space.
You said space agency? That's the problem right there. Space. That's not real. So the space agencies, they can't be real.
No, the vacuum
space isn't real.
The vacuum of space isn't real. Be very careful in saying this because people will dismiss you if you say space is fake. The vacuum of space is fake.
Yep.
Yeah, but he just said that the space agencies are not real.
Yeah, they're outer space agencies, sky vacuum agencies. When they say space, they mean sky vacuum in that context.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, you say that to Joe Coffey and Betty Breadmaker, they'll dismiss you in a second. Rightfully so. Be hyper specific. Don't use cliches.
So yeah, all of those agencies operate within a sky vacuum, and that's not real. So if there was multiple Narnia agencies telling us about the time dilation and how they cope for it, and all the people at Mission Control who are going through the wardrobe and sending their explorers through the wardrobe, and they're monitoring all their vitals on the computer as they go through the wardrobe, the accounts that we get on the other side of the wardrobe are irrelevant. The people who are claiming that they're monitoring life signs and vitals as they go through the wardrobe to Narnia, they're all deemed irrelevant because Narnia is not real. And all of the things that these people in front of computer screens do and the agencies they represent are all immediately deemed fake because they're travelling and claiming to operate within a second law of thermodynamics violation known as the sky vacuum, outer space.
But surely one of these 72 space agencies would have turned around and said, well, hold on, that's not real, that's not how things are, and the rest of them have been lying.
Why?
Why would they do that?
Why they're in on it?
You're assuming they're not
Why
all
would they
working
do
together.
that if they're one of the space agencies? What do you mean?
But there's 72 countries on this planet with space agencies. Surely one of them would have.
Right. So
figured
why
out
would
that
a space agency say that space is fake? The vacuum of space is fake if they are a space agency. Why would they do that?
They're the ones representing the lie, in other words. Why would the ones who are you're saying,
Exactly.
look, there's so many of these people representing a sky vacuum. Well, so what? There's so many liars lying about it. Is that your argument?
You're presuming also that they're not working together.
Can I ask you a
Right.
question?
Exactly.
Yeah, and there's another important point before
Can I
that
ask
question gets asked.
Highlander a question?
Not hold on a second.
Yes, you can, in a second. Go ahead, Keely.
Not every single person in each of those space agencies knows what's going on, right? The janitor at NASA is not knowing what's going on. I would even venture to say that even some high-level people, like Robert Bassano interviewed the head of the Hubble telescope, right? Did anyone listen to that interview?
Yes, definitely.
You need
That
to
was
go
nice.
listen to that.
It was great.
Yeah, it was great. This is my own personal opinion that he's not in on this, and he's the head of the Hubble program at NASA. It's clear that this gentleman is not lying.
Hold on, maybe he's not really the head. He's just the head of the media front part.
Yeah, it's
he was the head of the department. No,
it's all a
he's the head of
media
the department.
front.
In my opinion, like I said, he's not in on it. It's pretty clear just by the way he talks. He's a very honest person. Right?
Yeah.
You just listen to the interview and I'm sure you'll get that impression.
I did too. I just want to reiterate that because it's very important. So the compartmentalization of NASA means that this is possible. The guy who's running the show, in terms of what Arwin's saying, oh, that's just a front. Well, yeah, it all is. But yeah, the guy who's fronting the show that is the Hubble telescope, when Robert Bassano puts to him some of the stats that would suggest that it should have crashed, he goes, oh yeah. He's genuinely shocked. He's perplexed by it. Because he's not lying through his back teeth, he's just rattling off data. Well, this is how it works, friend. Thank you for asking questions. I love answering questions about my job. I love my job. And he tells him with passion about what it's doing. But then suddenly some of his explanations don't add up, and Robert Bassano points that out to him, and the guy's almost grateful. He's like, that's interesting. Because he can't quite believe what he's hearing. He's suddenly perplexed. Well, that's because he's not in on it. That's how they get away with it. That's how he'll go away and tell 1,000 other people how he's got a telescope in the sky vacuum.
Precisely. You got it.
Can anybody link me up to that in
On
Master B?
Planete Veritas channel. It's Robert Bassano's channel. It's still there. You can check it out. It's still got an obvious title like interview with NASA Hubble guy or something like that. You'll find it easily.
Can I get
Planete
on?
Veritas.
Can I follow up with
Yes, you had a
Highlander?
question in the wings. Go ahead.
Highlander, until this Flat Earth debate show and Flat Earth awakening, let's call it, every picture we saw from a high altitude balloon had a fisheye lens. It wasn't until freelance people with their own money sent out a high altitude balloon without a fisheye lens. And we get a whole different view of what Earth looks like from 120,000 feet. So my question to you is that why wasn't the agencies, all 72, sending up high altitude balloons? Oh, I'm sorry, they were. Why were they all purposely putting fisheye lens? And it took freelance people who were curious to see exactly what they would see from 120,000. Have you ever contemplated that?
Wait.
So why are the space agencies sending balloons to 120,000 feet?
Because space is fake.
Why does NASA send balloons up?
There's no sky
Why
vacuum.
is NASA the #1 consumer of helium in the world?
Because those are your satellites, if there are any. They're definitely not in a sky vacuum. That's not to say, as I declared 5 years ago, satellites are fake. No. There are things that are floating up in the sky, but not in a sky vacuum.
Yeah, they're on balloons. And we already exposed that not that long ago. In fact, it was Robert Bassano who exposed that 3 years ago.
I think this is just incredulity from Highlander. I mean, if he knows science, like gas pressure next to a vacuum, if he knows that already and he knows he can't demonstrate that, he doesn't need to ask about, well, why would NASA do this? Why the space agency is doing that? That's not our problem or even your problem, Highlander. You know science. You know you can't have the two side by side. So it's not a question of asking me or anyone else, why would NASA do that? You have to ask yourself, why would NASA lie to you?
Yeah, you look at the evidence, right? The dead body's already there. You don't go after a motive. You're trying to figure out why do we have what happened to this dead body, right? There's the evidence. Right? You don't go after intent or motive till, 2 or 3 steps removed.
Highlander, what do you think about that? You know yourself you can't have gas pressure without a container next to a vacuum. You know that, or do you still disagree with that?
When you say gas pressure, how much pressure are you talking about?
Pressure, any kind of pressure.
Pressure. Any
kind of
pressure.
pressure.
Because you need a container to have pressure.
So it's not about the quantity.
Press.
It's all of it.
It's all in the name, bro.
So
the word is pressure. Something is pressing against something else. Otherwise, they wouldn't call it pressure.
Here's a question on your pressure. What happens?
No, hold on. Before you go there, do you disagree? No, but do you disagree? Because that's the point. If you disagree, then just show how you can have it. It's not a question of, well, what do you think about? Can you demonstrate, or is it real world that you can have gas pressure next to a vacuum container without the gas pressure and things like that? In your mind,
I would say that if you have gas pressure, let's say 25 psi equals throughout your container, and you release it next to a vacuum, then yeah, it's going to expand and fill the space. But if you have a pressure gradient going from whatever psi you want all the way to near zero, and then you release that near zero,
It's irrelevant. It's still going to expand into outer space.
Stop, please.
Also, right, hold on. Let me finish. Right.
All right.
Also, when you move up,
because
your
you just got
gradient,
diarrhea of the mouth.
The air speed.
Where are you?
Up, right, and the air speeds up, then your pressure is.
All right, there you go.
Speeds up.
Hold on, Arwen. He invoked gas pressure gradients in his first statement, right? That's not our question. Our question is, where did you get the gas pressure in the first instance to have a gas pressure gradient? Now you may continue. Answer the question.
So you're saying before we can have the Earth's atmosphere, there has to be a container?
No,
Yes.
the pressure. Where does it come from?
Wait a second, Chemo, for crying out loud. Let me just talk to him, okay, Chemo?
Okay.
Next.
Got it.
Before you have gas pressure gradients, because that's what you appealed to, you must have gas pressure in the first instance. Our question is, how do you have gas pressure without a container?
I think I just heard him say exactly that.
Gas, your surface. We all know that. Yeah. And it's gradiated. Mother Nature does it all.
Okay, is that it? Is that the end of your explanation?
Well, how else do you explain the pressure gradient?
It's
in the
very
Earth's
simple.
atmosphere?
Please let me. It'll take me like 20 seconds, right? So,
but QE's
it's
trying to
very
lead him,
simple.
Arwin.
If there was outer space, there was no pressure gradient. It would all be gone.
QE's trying to lead him.
Why, if the pressure gradient at outer space is almost the same?
He's appealing to the pressure gradient again. Are you people? Is my mic working?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Why are you appealing to a gas pressure gradient again when I said you can't have
Because
gas
we
pressure
know the Earth's
gradient?
atmosphere is a
Oh
pressure
my God.
gradient. Unless QE's telling me that the Earth's atmosphere is not a pressure gradient.
It's a straw man. He's trying. He rumpused the demolishment, which came after him reasserting your position. So he said, you're appealing to the pressure gradient when our question makes plain that you can't have gas pressure at all without a container. So first you would have gas pressure, which you can't have without a container. Then you'd have a gas pressure gradient. But you haven't addressed that. You've just gone straight back to the same straw man of gas pressure gradients, which you can't have without gas pressure, which you can't have without a container.
Yeah.
So what contains a gas
Yeah.
pressure at
How did
14.7
the container?
at the surface then?
The container.
Sorry.
The answer to all questions: how is it contained? The container.
Yeah, there must be a container, but that's not the phraseology of the question. Is in regards to you and your sky vacuum belief. So we're not asking you this so that we can offer you an alternative explanation. We're asking you so that you can appreciate that without the container there can be no pressure. We have pressure but no container in your religion. So it's not that we want to avoid questions you ask, because we may not have an answer, but there's an answer you already have based on the westernized rhetoric of a sphere Earth in a vacuum, which simply doesn't work. That's the point we're making.
In other words, you can't have delta X before you have the X. The X is gas pressure. The delta X is the pressure gradient. Do you follow? Where'd you get X?
Right. So you agree that we have a pressure gradient then?
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, we agree. Does this have any bearing on the fact that your sky vacuum would be taking all the gas away? Because there's no container?
Well, we do lose atmosphere to outer space.
Yeah, we'd lose all of it if it was a sky vacuum. Not little bits of it.
And there's no proof for that claim either.
No, there is proof. There's the second law of thermodynamics. The gas would fill the space.
Hey,
Space
Nathan,
being
did
space.
you get the video? Hold on a second. Hey, Nathan, that video, can you play that video? It's only 1 minute, from 8 minutes to 9:10.
Oh, I'll do it.
What video?
I gave it the. Hold on. Do you know? Is it the right video?
The Robert Bresano one?
No.
Oh,
The one with Professor Porter, the Nobel laureate, explaining the second law of thermodynamics with the bromine. Nathan, I sent
Is
it
this
to
the
you.
one
I
where-
think I sent it to you personally. It should be right in the message stream, real close. Hold on.
Is this the one where he has pressurized gas in a container?
Wait one.
I don't have it. Not
I'm
to
going to
hand.
send it to you right now. Sorry, I put it in Ballbusters. I didn't send it to you. 1 second. It's timestamp.
Give me a second. I got a condensed version of it. If you want.
Yeah, if you can stick it in Ballbusters, or anywhere for that matter, Chocolate.
I have a quick thing about Ballbusters. If now, just a quick thing.
You go ahead because we're doing some accounts trying to find it. So yeah, you might as well fill it. Oh no, here it comes. Go ahead.
No, I just had. I love the whole Terminator aspect of his whole intro, but when the Terminator foot comes down and crushes the skull, if someone knows how to animate a CG sphere Earth instead of the skull, so when the foot comes down, it crushes the actual Earth.
Also,
yeah, Arwen had that idea.
Make it biblical,
Yeah,
man.
but it's a good one.
If you can edit in that heel getting bruised.
As that first started, I imagined that's what you were going to do, and then when you didn't, I was like, oh no, that was there's such a great opportunity right there.
Okay,
Adam, are you listening to this?
This is the. All right,
No,
here we go.
still recovering from his
One
arrest.
of these bulbs, some bromine, and in the other, I have a vacuum. And if I open the tap between these two, you will see spontaneously the bromine rush from one to the other. Now that is the simplest change we can have, perhaps, because all that happens is a change in entropy. In this case, the expansion into a vacuum, nothing else is involved. There's no energy change, there's no temperature change, there's no change except entropy. So without the entropy con one of these bulbs, some bromine, and in the other, I have a vacuum. And if I open the tap between these two, you will see spontaneously the bromine rush from one to the other. Now that is the simplest change we can have, perhaps, because all that happens is a change in entropy. In this case, the expansion into a vacuum, nothing else is involved. There's no energy change, there's no temperature change, there's no change except entropy. So without the entropy con one of these bulbs, some bromine, and...
Cool. Very cool.
You didn't play it, though.
What?
It was a visual.
Yeah, I had it up.
Oh, did you? Sorry, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I had it up.
We couldn't see it here.
Oh, okay. The audience could.
Right.
Darn audience.
I've seen it 100 times. I know what it is.
Yeah, I think I seen that one.
I posted it as soon as I found it. Kidding? Don't tell me you haven't seen it. I know you've seen it, Arwen.
Who are we having that conversation with? You know, the gas would fill the space, entropy would increase.
Highlander.
Guy's not a vacuum.
Highlander, yeah.
Yeah, I never said that wouldn't happen if you have gas pressure with equal PSI throughout your chamber, which is what that professor has, does he not?
So, yeah, he's got a chamber. That's the bit we're talking about. If he didn't have the chamber, do you know what would happen?
Poof.
It would fill the available volume.
Yep.
So, what do you think is going to happen given that your sphere Earth has no chamber around it?
Poof. Yeah, but in his example, he does not have a pressure gradient, does he?
Sorry.
You're comparing a single
you've
gas.
done this 3 times.
buddy.
God.
Highlander,
it's the third time you've done this. It's the third time you've done this.
Can't do that.
Listen. Right. Inside that chamber that he's got there, first, he's got to have gas pressure for him to then have a gas pressure gradient. So, first container, then gas pressure, then gas pressure gradient. So if you don't have a container, you're never going to get to the stage of having a gas pressure gradient, because you can't have gas pressure in the first place without the container. Now, you're constantly going, yeah, but we've got a gradient. Yeah, well, what, is that a concession that there must be a container then? Because first you'd need a container, then you'd get gas pressure, then you can have a gas pressure gradient when the system becomes dynamic. So, no, you'd still need a container regardless of your straw man, which is what it is. It's a straw man fallacy. It seems to address the problem, but doesn't. It's not addressing the fact that to have the gas pressure, for it to become gradiated, you'd need a container like in the example. Because without that container, he wouldn't be able to make the example, because the gas would fuck off. It would fill the available volume. And that's what we're saying the gas on your religion of an earth would do. It would fill the available volume, as per the second law of thermodynamics.
I don't think it was a straw man, because he literally just diverted off into another question, so it makes it a red herring, rather, in my opinion.
That's wrong. That's incorrect. Sorry, Arwin. I want to correct that. So a red herring would be if he started to talk about Earth curvature, because it's a completely off-topic, not related. But because he's seeming
No, but
to
he
be...
didn't answer the question, and he started to talk about the gradient, which has no relevance.
Does it seem related, though?
Yeah, but it's not.
Right, so it seems
you don't understand gravity. That's why. That's what it is. You just don't understand gravity, and that's why it's related. Gravity's causing it. Now we're on to gravity. That's how we get around it.
That's an example of a red herring. Well done, whoever did that. Correct. That's a red herring.
Okay.
Whereas if I start to, let's say you're talking about the problem of school dinners, just so it's a different subject, and I start talking about how much milk costs, then it seems to be related because it's part of school dinners, the milk they drink. But it isn't actually addressing the issue that's at hand in regards to whether or not they get school dinners. It's just addressing the price of milk. So it seems related, therefore straw man. So is gas pressure gradient, well, gas pressure and gas pressure gradient are related topics. So obviously he's addressing the actual issue on the table about having a container. Well, no, that's the whole point of doing it. It seems like he's addressing something, but it's a straw man, not a red herring. Sorry.
Okay, but I think that straw man still smells a little fishy.
I would have to side with Arwin here.
Okay.
I got a question for
Arwin. I see you've been working on your puns, Arwin.
Hey, Nathan, I got something for Highlander.
Hey, hold on 1 second, 10th.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Nathan, one request, please. This is just, I got a little shop question, so could you stay after the show's over?
Yeah, sure.
No,
That's a nice way of killing the show.
Yeah, it's only take a couple minutes. All right, 10. Sorry about that.
All right, no problem. So Highlander, the vacuum of space that the heliocentric model proposes is 10 to the minus 17 torr. Are you saying that as it meets the atmosphere of the Earth in your thinking, that's a gas pressure gradient, that you have some kind of gradient vacuum so that it instantaneously does not take all the atmosphere out? Is that what you're saying?
No, we know we lose atmosphere to outer space.
I'm talking about the vacuum.
Nobody ever said that we don't.
I'm talking about the vacuum.
But the pressure next to the vacuum space is almost the same. Yeah.
Fine.
I don't think he gets it.
Now,
it's actually a good question.
Now, the other thing, which is something that no flat earther has ever answered for me, is what happens when air speeds up.
Can you go back to my question instead of changing the subject?
Can you just answer that? Anyone, any flat earther can answer that.
There might be turbulence.
What happens when air speeds up?
Now, this is a definite
It's
red
not
herring.
a hard question.
The red herring. So
You're
we're
not
talking about
listening.
the gas
You haven't
next to
answered
the sky vacuum.
No.
And you're asked,
This
being
is
asked,
related to gas pressure. Yeah?
just
And if you
answered it.
actually
Did you hear
knew,
me?
then you would know that it's not a red herring.
Highlander,
And you hear me answer the
Highlander, how is that air here in the first place in order to speed up? You're missing the question. You're ducking and dodging.
Yeah, correct.
You're talking about air, which is gas. How is the gas here in the first place?
Look, when air speeds up, it moves. That's what it does. And if that
Answer
causes
Chocolate's
the
question.
air to go thinner, then it loses pressure.
Answer
It's still
Chocolate's
gonna
question. Chocolate, say it again.
You're talking Highlander. You're
It's
talking
fine.
about air speeding up. All right. You're ducking and dodging the question. The question is, how do we have air, aka gas, in the first place?
Because Mother Nature created it. Yeah. Or like if you ask QE the same question, God created it. It depends who you ask. Depends on what they believe. Yeah.
He didn't
like
ask
if you
you who
ask
So
me,
then,
it started with a big
God
bang.
would have had to create the necessary
everything went
antecedent,
later.
which would be a container. Right?
This is a
Apparently,
straw
his
man.
God didn't need to.
Sorry,
This
let's
guy
just ask him.
doesn't
His
even
God
Let's just
just
ask him
has
one last
special,
question.
really
One last
good
question.
breath here on Earth.
Just one last question for Highlander. Do you believe it is possible to have gas pressure without a container?
What?
Do you believe it is
I
possible
don't.
to have gas pressure without a container?
Well, clearly we can have gas pressure without a container.
Okay.
It just
Hold
depends
hold
on
hold
your
on,
definition of container.
hold on,
Because
hold
QE's
on,
definition of
hold
container,
on, hold on.
that the container
Supplementary. You
must
see,
be sealed.
Highlander,
But then
Highlander, for
after
fuck's
that,
sake,
you turn
Highlander,
and say, no.
Highlander.
Nathan, hold on,
I just
man. Hold on
needed
a
a
second. Let him
yes.
finish talking,
You complete
Nathan.
asshole. Yeah, it was a two-part question. I didn't need you to answer and then give an endless fucking diatribe where previously you've left massive silences.
No,
So
he said it requires a definition for container, dude.
sorry, is it a white knight coming to save him? Who was that I hear? A white knight?
Sounds like a white knight.
Sounds like a white knight.
Sounds like.
So if all white knights can save from rescuing this man from his virtue or whatever they're doing when they're white knights riding in on their white
Did he need
horse.
to be rescued for virtue, or was he just
Shut
trying to
Grim
ask
up
for a
because he's
definition
clearly desperate to have this man's attention for whatever reason. He needs to rescue this man. Highlander, it seems you've got an admirer on a white horse who's just been shut up. So Highlander, given that you believe that you can have gas pressure without a container, is it possible to demonstrate that being the case beyond your fundamentalist religious belief that Earth meets that criteria? Can you demonstrate it beyond your religious belief of Earth in a vacuum?
Yeah, Earth is an example. Jupiter's another example of gas.
Say again, because he's a fucking retard and deaf. So given that you believe you can have gas pressure without a container, is it possible, I'll say this bit a little bit slower just for you, Highlander, beyond your religious belief about what Earth does?
I'm not religious.
Yeah, you've got a religious belief in a sky vacuum, and I'm asking you if you can demonstrate gas pressure without a container beyond your religious belief about a marble Earth in a sky vacuum. So don't just appeal to your religious belief.
Well, can you define,
I'm trying to clarify where
Right,
you've
can
gone
you
wrong
define
already.
to me
You've already gone wrong
what
once.
you mean
You've already gone wrong once
by
because you couldn't listen. Now you're
container?
fundy muting me because he can't listen to the clarity I'm trying to give him. You already fucked this up once, idiot. I'm trying to give you clarity. You do have a religious belief. You've just asserted it, and now you're stopping me. Now you're stopping. You don't want clarity. This is fundamentalism. You're being a fundamentalist religious zealot. Zealot, can you try and listen, zealot? Zealot. Zealot. Zealot.
It just has to
Zealot.
be
Yeah, zealot. I'm trying to explain where you've gone wrong. Yeah, Highlander, you fucked this up totally. I explained that I
So
didn't want you to
define
use.
container.
You triggered, are you, Fundy? I'm trying to explain where you fucked this
No,
up, but you
you're
don't
the one
like
that's
it.
triggered, Nathan. I'm perfectly fine.
Well, shut
You're
up
the one
then.
that won't define what you mean by container.
Something to contain the gas. So I'll try again. I want you to give a demonstration of gas pressure without containment beyond your religion of an Earth in a sky vacuum. So that would be, for clarity, A demonstration that doesn't involve your religious belief. Go.
I don't have a religion, Nathan. Why are you trying to force a religion on me that I don't have?
Answer the question.
You do have a religion. You've got a religion in a sky vacuum. It's not possible. It defies natural law. You believe it anyway. That's a religion.
Well, you believe the Earth is flat. We're absolutely.
So now he's just distracting away from the subject. I'll ask again. I want a demonstration of gas pressure without a container beyond your religious belief.
Blue Marble Science gave you it.
No, he had a pipe. That's a container. It has a surface area that you can measure how much containment it offers based on its surface area. No, that's wrong. He did not offer a demonstration of gas pressure without a container. He brought in gas pressure in a container and then transferred it to a different container that had a very small hole versus the surface area. So he had two containers, two demonstrations. Shut up! You're wrong, and I'm going to point out why you're wrong. Don't fucking interrupt me, Highlander, you stupid twat. You're wrong. He didn't demonstrate...
By the way.
Highlander, you are wrong, and I'm going to tell you why. That doesn't mean keep flapping your gums while I point out how fucking stupid you are. He gave a demonstration of gas pressure needing a container by bringing in a container of gas pressure and then transferring it to a different container. So you are incorrect.
Yeah, but QE said the container must be sealed.
Yeah, if you want to keep hold of the gas for any prolonged period of time, entropy will still increase regardless of the reduced surface area of a tiny little pipe getting rid of the gas immediately versus an enormous, great big 20-foot long pipe with a tiny hole in it. Just because you put a hole... excuse me, can you shut the fuck up? Can you shut up? Shut up! Shut up! I'm explaining how you're wrong. Now, I appreciate, Highlander, that you're a fucking moron and you don't like being demonstrated to be wrong.
Do you hear yourself? I mean, do you ever stop and listen to these? You sound
Nathan, I found new.
Is that M. Scott Veach?
Yes, it is, Nathan. You sound like a...
You sound like you don't know how to use your equipment. You're distorting to a fuck. Do you not know how to use a computer? I thought you had a degree in computer science. Sorry, I'm asking you a question, M. Scott Veach.
You sound like a child. You really...
You sound like you don't know how to use your equipment.
You just need to learn to relax. You need to learn to relax and not take everything so seriously. You're going to give yourself a heart attack.
Hey, Arwen, why do you always get involved when other people are talking?
Hey, Quantum, I heard you tell a lie about me earlier. Why don't you tell that lie? Why are you lying to people like that? You said that you caught me doing what with universities? You didn't catch. What are you talking about?
Well,
You're supposed to be a Christian man. Why would you lie like that?
Can everyone in the Discord and G+, just shut up for a second, please?
No. How about you just tell us why you lied? I
can't hear what you're saying very clearly because it seems you don't know how to use your equipment very well. You're coming through very distorted.
Ouch. Okay, well, let me fix that. That really hurts that you said I don't know how to use my equipment.
Well, while you're still talking with the distorted mic, M. Scott Veach, I'll try and respond to that. I'll try, but it seems you can't stop talking now. You've started. So it's self-evident that you don't know how to use your equipment. It's all distorted. So you haven't...
Really
I'll try again. He's just interrupting me. It's embarrassing for him. I'll try again.
It's super embarrassing.
I'll try again. Just relax, M. Scott Veach. Just relax. Try and calm down. It's just a conversation. Just relax. It's self-evident that you don't know how to use your equipment. It's all going wrong for you. So, no, you have got a problem. You don't know how to use your equipment. That is self-evident.
He used to have a working computer, but then they lost the technology to do it again. So
they destroyed it.
Just has a broken computer.
I would really like to hear a back and forth between M. Scott Veach and either Nathan or John. Over.
No worries, just waiting for him to sort his shit out.
That's cool. I'm just trying to, hopefully have less rumpusing. Over.
How's that going? Any better? No, we've got nothing from you.
Yeah, by the way, sorry for
control M. Scott Veach, over.
He's dropped. He'll hopefully return with a working mic.
While we're waiting for M. Scott real quick, I wanted to ask Highlander. He thinks that we could have gas pressure without a container. Does he think we can have a vacuum without a container? Over.
You realize Highlander doesn't know anything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're okay with that.
He's picking it up slowly. He realised earlier that he had to segue from non-inertial and inertial reference frames into begging the question of an Earth that turns. It was so overt. It was priceless. An excellent example of someone doing it really badly. Great. I'm glad it got dedicated to air.
Any of the ballers think that you can create a vacuum without a container? Anyone?
Not here on Earth, no.
Not here on Earth.
Then the sky is
How do
not
we
a
have
vacuum.
gas pressure then?
Then the sky's not a vacuum.
Why is space not a vacuum?
You can't have gas pressure without a container.
You also can't have a vacuum here without a container.
What's your definition of container?
A physical barrier.
Wait for the gas to press on.
Separation.
We know what your definition of container is, QE. But what's
Highlander,
Nathan's
answer
definition of
Chocolate's
container?
question.
Because
Highlander, answer Chocolate's
physical
question.
separation.
Why can't you create a vacuum here on Earth? Why can't you create a vacuum here on Earth? Answer Chocolate's question. What prevents you from creating a vacuum here on Earth without a container? Please.
Because we have gas pressure, that's why.
Thank you.
You should have said gravity.
Go on, Alvin.
I was just joking. I would say he should have said gravity. Like the gravity prevents us from making a vacuum here on Earth. Then the joke would be complete, but...
Yeah, I knew that's what you were wanting me to say, Arwen.
You know me well.
I've listened to the show often enough.
Well, you answered it. We have gas pressure.
Yep.
But you also say you can't have a vacuum without a container. So how can we be surrounded by a vacuum if we have air pressure here?
Yeah, but the air pressure next to the void of space is almost equal.
No, it isn't.
How would the air pressure and a void be almost equal?
Where'd you get the pressure? Where'd you get the pressure first? He's just using the same argument over and over and over again that we pummeled over and over and over again. Do you have anything new, Highlander?
You're asking where do we get the air pressure that's next to the vacuum?
Where'd you get the gas pressure in the first place?
Well, we get that air pressure from the air pressure that's down below. Because the air moves up the way. Yeah?
Not Mother Nature?
No. Maybe.
Not Mother Nature this time?
Sometimes. Just a little bit.
So gas comes from the ground, and gas behavior is such that it will just expand in all directions to fill the available volume. You appreciate that, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, what happens when it speeds up?
What do you mean when it speeds up? When it's heated
Well,
up?
what happens when the air speeds up? It's not a hard question. What happens
gets
when
faster.
the air speeds up?
It gets faster.
It would probably expand faster than it normally does.
But yeah, that's
what
that out of the way.
that's what speeding up would mean. So
To keep it basic, it moves.
Right? You have the same amount of air, but when it speeds up, the pressure goes down. Yeah. And what happens when that pressure goes down?
What?
Based on
when the
So
air speeds
you
up,
think if
it
I
creates a
increase the energy
downforce.
in a gas particle, if I
Yeah.
heat it up, you think the pressure goes down? Well, that's wrong. You just don't understand gas pressure.
That's right. Okay, so you're telling me that all the aerodynamic engineers in Formula One are wrong.
Don't know what the hell
No,
you're
they're
babbling
all
about.
based on gas-filled
That's
space.
where I get this from. They speed up the air underneath the car, which reduces the air pressure and creates a downforce.
So where'd you get the pressure in the first instance?
Underneath of a Formula One car. So
All of it
when you have the same amount of air and you speed it up, the air
Where'd
pressure
you
reduces.
get the pressure in the first instance?
Yeah, why are you talking about aerodynamics of a Formula One car?
So where'd you get? So where did they for that effect?
Container, there is no aerodynamics. How about
Right.
that?
Exactly. There you go, Arwin. So yeah, for those effects to take place, for you to have aerodynamics, you need air. Where'd you get the air from?
The air that's in front of the car.
And where did that come from? The ground?
Right. This questioning is going to go all the way back to the birth of the planet, really, isn't it?
No. The argument ends much sooner than that. The
How does it?
Okay, where's the gas?
Because you're asking me where
where's the gas
air
coming
from?
Where's the gas
Yeah.
coming from? Where's the gas coming from? They taught you this in high school.
The formation of the planet.
So what you're saying is the gas that I'm breathing now came from the heavy bombardment bullshit story. No, the gas pressure's being created at ground level. Will you just concede this rather than claim it came from a heavy bombardment? Gas comes from the ground, correct? My God, it's like pulling teeth. Yes, it does, Nathan. Yes, absolutely. Yes, I was taught this in high school. Yes, we have all these different gas cycles. Yes, ground level, yes. Why aren't you just saying yes?
Not their policy.
Yeah, can't possibly concede anything ever, even when it's really retardedly basic.
Scott Veach, where are you, Mr. Computer Science?
Having
Get that
trouble.
mic working yet?
He's putting on a spacesuit.
Arwin, he wasn't asking you.
You tell me, is it working? I don't know.
Yes, perfect. Much better. Thank you for sorting that out.
So are you going to tell us why you were lying about me, Quantum?
I wasn't lying. I was talking about the
You said
instance
you caught
where you
me.
called up Professor Wolfs at the University of Rochester.
And got him to do what?
Got him to pull his website down.
No, I didn't. What are you talking about?
Did. They took the website down, but we found it back again.
You have your stories mixed up, and I didn't do either one of those things. He didn't pull down a website. At least I don't know that he did.
Shut up, Scott Veach. I called Professor Wolfs, right? I called his he has a lovely secretary, by the way, and we had a very nice discussion for about 30 minutes, right? Where then she told me that Professor Wolfs was unavailable, would be back in 3 days, and he would call me. He never called me. I called her back, and she said, I don't know what happened. Yeah, we know what happened, Scott Veach. Yeah, because I was going to correct his dumb ass because not everything on that website was correct, right? But he wouldn't talk to me, would he? Why, Scott Veach?
I don't know. I guess he wouldn't. But how did you catch me though?
Yeah,
you didn't.
Well,
You're just
I
making
not
this up as
only
you go.
caught you doing
Because
that
I didn't do
little
anything.
nonsense. I not only caught you doing that.
I'm sorry that you.
Right?
I'm sorry that you're lying.
Anthony Riley caught you messing around somewhere, didn't he?
No.
Huh?
No, that's not the case.
Hey, you should know better than this, Quantum. You have a master's, Quantum. You should know that I don't just call up Harvard and say, "Hey, take this, paper down from this one student's private directory," and they say, "Okay, sure, we're going to do that because God forbid a flat earther reads it." Like,
I didn't say Harvard.
You should know better than to believe that shit.
Let's move on.
Yeah, but that's the one that Riley's talking about.
To your nuclear synthesis.
No, let's not move on. Let's justify all the lies that you guys tell.
Evolution, M. Scott.
And then let's talk about how Nathan needs to relax. Let's talk about Nathan needs to relax after that.
Oh, you want to switch the topics to that? Okay,
don't
let's
mind.
talk about relaxation techniques.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I want to stay on why you tell somebody lies.
I don't mind.
And then
I
when
don't
we're done
mind.
with that, we can talk about why Nathan needs to relax.
Sure, let's talk about why Nathan needs to relax. I don't mind.
Why do you get so mad, Nathan? What are you so mad about?
Arwen, stay out of this.
So I get very annoyed that people like your father lie to us about sky being a vacuum.
But you don't really know that,
I hadn't
though.
quite finished.
And why are you
my
yelling at
answer.
other people because
it
you're
seems
mad at
that
my
you're
dad?
deciding to mute me while I'm in the middle of a sentence, M. Scott Veach. Can I explain why I'm angry?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you not do that? Is that something you would never lower yourself to? You don't ever mute people in the middle of their sentences, huh?
So I'll try again.
That's an incredibly cool thing to do, Quantum. I can't tell you how much that just raised your cool factor.
Do you just need to relax while I answer your question?
I'm not very good at that, so I'm sorry. You're gonna have to just live with me. But you ought to relax because you can do it. I think, can you? I mean,
Sorry,
you're not really this triggered, are you?
Veach, anyway,
guys, hello.
You're yelling
Hello.
so loud, you lost your voice. Your mic literally clipped out.
Hello.
Like, what in the world possesses that?
So when I get an opportunity to answer you, I'll try again. You let me know when you're done.
That's
I
okay.
appreciate you're very angry about this.
Yeah,
I
that's
need
okay.
to relax.
I just find it absurd that you're so sensitive to being interrupted, given how much you interrupt. Maybe that's just me, but I think it's manifestly amusing.
So let me know when you're relaxed enough for me to answer your question there, M. Scott Veach.
Okay, well, I think you have to sort of like just feel it out, suss it out. Because if I'm telling you every time it's time for you to talk, it'll get awkward.
Got a point?
Not at all. I'm just trying to ascertain who's the one that's stressed and who needs to relax. It seems that you need to relax. I'll count to 10, then I'll know you're relaxed enough for me to answer your question.
Okay, you can count 10 if you want. Let's do that.
We're all nice and relaxed. So, I get very annoyed when people assert that they have been to a place that cannot exist. For example, your father, who has asserted that he has been to Narnia, aka a sky vacuum, and he hasn't. He can't. That place is not real. It violates natural law.
Yeah, so I know that you don't believe him. That's okay. You don't have to. But that doesn't really explain why you're constantly yelling at everything and everyone that moves. It doesn't explain why you mute people so liberally or interrupt them so liberally. It doesn't explain why you lose your voice screaming at the top of your lungs every day, because I haven't talked to you in probably over a year. So you're telling me that because you think my dad lied, that's why you're always screaming all the time?
No, it seems you can't listen to my answer. I'll
All right,
try
listen
again.
to it.
I'll try again, see how relaxed he is while I repeat the answer he couldn't listen
You
to.
try again. Just try again. Let's see.
I'll try.
See if you
I'll
can
try.
get better
We'll
this
see. We'll see if you can relax.
Think about the big
You can
context of
relax
how often
there.
you
We'll
talk.
see how well you relax there, Scotty.
I don't know if I can. I'm not promises.
All right, we'll wait
I'm
till
not
you're
making
nice
promises.
and relaxed.
Maybe count to 10 again. How about you want to count to 10 again?
I don't
Can you
mind.
stop straw manning? Fuck's sake.
Please.
Oh,
please,
Arwen, it's just Arwen.
I'll try again. Yeah, your father did
So
lie.
why are you so upset?
He's obviously not relaxed enough.
I know you think you did.
Yeah, I'll try again. We'll see. Very annoying, right? Not very relaxed, eh? Scott?
You're really sensitive to interruptions. I didn't realize how sensitive you were. If I had known this all this time.
Yeah, I'm really, really, really upset about this. So I'll try again when you're relaxed enough there, Scott Beach. You let me know.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm telling you, counting to 10 was great. You should do that again.
Okay. So, your father did lie, provable by the place he claimed to have gone to being a second law of thermodynamics violation. You can't have gas pressure next to a vacuum. The gas would fill the space.
And that is your explanation for why you scream every day at the top of your lungs to the point where you lose your voice. Is that right?
Yeah, what I'd like to know at this stage is why I'm detailing the lies of your father, and yet you seem it or deem it more appropriate to critique a very small, virtually unknown YouTuber than a violation of a natural law that you've been lied to about by your father, and why you would need to interrupt me while I'm detailing that lie that I'm so angry about, given that you've asked me why my degree of anger and then continually interrupt while I explain it for the third time. I don't like being lied to about places that can't.
Oh, just relax. Just relax. So here's the answer to your question.
Maybe you need to relax.
Here's the answer to your question.
Maybe it's me that needs to relax. Maybe it's me that's not relaxed enough. You're a bit triggered there.
I mean, do you still need to finish? Do you have more to say from that sentence? Is that sentence done? Because if it's done, I'll give you the answer.
It's not done now. You interrupted me because you're not very relaxed about this conversation here now, are you, Scotty?
No, let me know when you're done. Let me know when you're done.
You'll know because I'll stop talking. Do you want me to say over?
I thought you had.
I'll say over because it seems your comprehension of normal.
That'll be a little awkward, but you can do that if that's what you need to do.
I'll wait till you're relaxed enough for me to continue, even though you've given me permission twice.
Count to 10 again, I think. Maybe count to 10 again.
I'll need to do that because you're not very relaxed about this conversation now, are you, Scott? I'm nice.
I told you, I don't make any promises about being relaxed.
Yeah. I appreciate that you projected about my lack of being relaxed when in fact you seem to be quite stressed out about this encounter now, don't you?
Well, really, honestly, you seem to get so triggered by this tiniest of interruptions that I don't really see myself as the one that's being so triggered. I see you throwing a fit anytime any noise gets made while you're talking, which is manifestly absurd given your history.
Yeah, okay, I'll try again. So I'm interested in why, given that I've detailed a violation of a natural law and the lies of your father in regards to that violation of a natural law, you would deem it more appropriate to critique a very small YouTuber and his production quality? Why would that be the case?
Hold on one second. Nathan, the idea that you imagine that it's reasonable for someone like me to take someone like you seriously when you talk about the second law of thermodynamics, so when you say gas needs a container. I'm sorry. Wait. Oh gosh, he's so angry because he just interrupted me. What was that noise? Who was so triggered? The idea that you think that would matter to me. The idea that you think that because you have a grip on science to this extent. Let's just be clear here. You think this is what science has done. Science has told you on one hand, space exists and rockets work in the vacuum and we've gone to the moon and they said all these things. And you think that science is so dumb that they failed to notice a contradiction between the second law of thermodynamics and the existence of space, and that they
it's not an entity. It's not dumb, M. Scott Beach. You are.
What's happened?
And it took you in 2018 in order to be the one who finally notices this contradiction. Now, just from a pure common sense perspective, from absolutely just no knowledge whatsoever, what do you think the chances of that actually being true are?
I don't know. Maybe you can show us gas pressure without a container beyond the lies that your father told you about a region that you can't travel to. Can you show us a demonstration?
What do you think the container does?
Maybe I let him talk for quite a long period, and he's just not relaxed enough to let me have more than 5 seconds, right? You need to interrupt every single
What do you
sentence.
think a container does?
Is this troubling
The answer to your question is,
Scotty? Is me talking
what do you
troubling?
think the walls actually
You
do?
need to talk the whole time. Okay, you go ahead.
The container allows gas.
What do you think the walls of a container are actually doing in that situation?
They'd be containing the gas pressure that we experience.
And they do that via what?
Sorry. You haven't got any walls.
How do they do it?
Why are you asking me this? Are you conceding that you can't have gas pressure without a container?
I'm asking you this because I'm making a point.
Is it that you're conceding that you'd need a container? Because you seem to be asking me a lot of questions about containment
No, I'm asking you
of
a
gas.
really simple question. If you don't want to answer it, you can say, I don't know, or I don't want to answer it, or I don't want
We
to talk
already
about it,
asked
or
you a
you can answer any way you want. But
The answer is
the
pressure.
question is, what's the mechanism?
Pressure.
How many people are joining in here? This is getting crazy.
Well,
I guess I probably triggered them when I was interrupting.
Do you want to know the answer to any of your
Sorry
questions, or are you going to do Rumpus's trick and talk non-stop? So the reason
So-
lots of people
so what
are
do the walls
interrupt-
do?
Oh, you are going to do
They do
Rumpus's trick.
present what?
You are then. You are going to do Rumpus's trick and talk non-stop.
I can't really hear you, honestly, Nathan.
Yeah,
When
maybe
you're
just
talking like that, you're
try
cutting out.
stopping talking.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out still.
Yeah, try stopping talking.
Yeah, well, or try not interrupting.
So the reason lots of people interrupted all at the same time was because you ignored the question you were asked in regards to how you can have gas pressure without a containment and started to ask me about parameters of containment. My question being, have you now conceded that without the container there can be no pressure? Have you conceded that point or not?
The answer is I have not conceded that. The answer is I'm answering your question, but I'm doing it in a manner that will help get you to the answer. You've been told this before and you don't seem to understand it. So I'm going to try to give you a way to understand it. And you have to think. Maybe, I mean, it's going to be unusual. Like you're not going to just have some sort of cliche that you can spit back out at me. You're going to have to actually stop and consider what's really going on here on a fundamental level.
Answer the question!
Have you ever done that?
He's just asked me a new question. Have I ever considered stuff at a fundamental level rather than answering the question about whether or not we can have gas pressure without a container? So it seems like we're getting quite a lot of obfuscation from this question. Are you scared of this question?
No, I'm giving you the answer. Why are you not just answering the question?
You didn't give me the answer. You gave me a question about whether or not I could comprehend things.
That your question, the way you've answered it, is the only way that it can be answered is how you want me to answer it. Why don't you ever stop and just think like, well, what is Scott trying to get at? Let me see if I can just answer this question and see where we go next.
You haven't given us an answer yet. You haven't got at anything. So we
Well,
don't know
you
what
haven't
you're
given
getting
me
at.
an
You haven't
answer
given
yet
it us.
either, have you?
Oh, on you go. Let's hear it. How can you have gas pressure without a container?
Okay, so what do the walls actually do?
The walls of the container that you need to have gas pressure. So you are conceding that you need a container then?
No, I'm asking you, in case of which you have a container, what do those walls do to the gas? What do they present? How does it work? What's the mechanism?
I'll tell you. They contain it.
Yeah, and that what is that? How does that work? Like, what would you, if you had to do an equation to figure out how much what the gas pressure is? What's that?
You're asking me how a container works.
I'm asking you what the mechanism it is.
Mechanism. It's a
you
container.
Know kinetic forces, right?
It holds things.
I guess the right answer I'm looking for is it's.
Sorry, do we have to answer the? Do we have to give the answer that you want? Is that what you just? Are you projecting quite a lot here? Because you just said I had to give you the answer that you wanted. So is there only the answer that you want?
Well, I'm telling you the answer that's correct. And so that's how it works, is kinetic force, right? The molecules of the gas bounce off the walls of the container.
So without the container, there can be no pressure.
That's not true. We're going to get there in a second. But
well, you haven't. We've asked you how you can have gas pressure without a container, and it seems that all you've given us is a very long, drawn-out question about my comprehension, and then explained that without the container, there can be no pressure.
So the gas is conforming to the forces of the container, right?
So without the container, there can be no pressure. So if the gas is conforming to the walls of a container and your sphere Earth has no container, then the gas will fill the available volume. And the available volume in your religion of a marble in a sky vacuum would be all of outer space, and we wouldn't have any gas to breathe.
What is the other force, Nathan?
What are you talking about? What force?
So is container walls the only force you can think of? Can you think of any other forces that could possibly act on gas?
A wall's not a force. A wall is a container. It provides containment.
It provides kinetic. There's a kinetic force that happens when things bounce off of it. That's how it works. Can you think of another force that might conform, or cause gas molecules to conform? Any other force that comes to mind?
So we are definitely conceding.
Maybe, electromagnetic.
Is everyone going to stop talking? Is
Any
there
other
an end to
forces?
this question? Is there an end to this question?
Relative density.
Gravity?
Relative density.
Sorry.
Relative density is
all
not
I
a
seem to
force,
be getting is you talking over me when I try and respond.
You're interrupting. You wanted this answer so badly, and now you're interrupting it. You just listen. You hear it.
You've told me about having containment, walls of a container.
I've told you that gas molecules conform to the forces present. Those forces can take the form of a container.
No, you said they conform.
They can also take the form of. Are you interrupting again, Nathan? This is why you don't ever learn anything.
Sorry.
Relative density disequilibrium.
Hold on, Arwen.
So
shut up.
So they conform to the forces that are present.
What forces?
Okay. So what?
Can you show me gas being maintained without a container by any means you like, forces or otherwise? I don't care how you demonstrate it. Show me gas pressure without a container, but instead by way of forces with no container.
That's what I'm trying to do, Nathan. So we're going to show you, because by the time we're done, you're going to see the atmosphere as an example of that.
Post a link. Sorry,
but you don't see that yet.
Sorry, did you just assert your religious belief in a sky vacuum as the proof of your sky vacuum?
That the gas molecules conform to the force of present.
You're talking constantly. Did you just say look at the atmosphere? Are you saying look at the sky? It is a vacuum as your proof of the sky?
No,
vacuum?
That's not what I said.
You said look at the atmosphere.
That if you stop interrupting, for somebody who was just very triggered about being interrupted.
You seem to be very triggered by people interrupting you. Are you a bit of a snowflake or what?
I'm just trying to give you your answers, Nathan. You got to listen to them.
You just need to relax. You just need to relax. You seem to moan constantly about people interrupting you.
I never made that promise, did I?
Relax. So good. Okay. So, did you point at the atmosphere? You don't like the question. This is a scary question.
It's not a scary question. I just don't understand why you don't let me give you the answer.
Gonna say it? Or are you scared of it? Gonna say it? Or are you gonna fundy mute me the whole time?
I've heard it already. Have I not heard it? Did I hear the question or not?
So, can you demonstrate gas pressure without a container beyond your fundamentalist religious belief that the sky is a vacuum? I.e., please don't point at the sky and say it's a vacuum as the proof that it's a vacuum. That's circular reasoning.
I'm not doing that. Yeah. So yes, the answer is yes. We're going to do that together. And what we're going to do, the way we're going to do that is we're going to get you to see that the atmosphere is an example of that. There are other examples.
You said that very quickly. Can you repeat?
We don't need them.
You said it very quickly. I didn't hear you.
Talk about how
you say it again. You say it again.
I'm sorry. Interrupting again. For somebody who gets triggered by interrupting, you really do.
Yeah, I'm really triggered by this. Do you want to just repeat it? You said it a bit quickly.
I'm just trying to finish an answer. I mean, if I can't finish a sentence, of course I'm going to get triggered. How many times are you going to interrupt before I start getting mad?
Nathan doesn't sound triggered. He sounds like he's smiling. So why don't you just repeat your question?
I'll try again.
So I've heard the question. Now I'm giving you the answer.
Oh no, he's too triggered.
I've heard the question.
He's
Now I'm giving you the answer.
It's a shame.
Can I give you the answer or no?
You'd think it'd be the picture of calm.
Can I give you the answer or no? Is it not? You don't want to hear the answer or not?
Hey, I'll phrase the question, then you give me a concise answer.
You don't need to rephrase the question.
How can you have gas pressure without a container?
You really don't need to rephrase it. It's getting absurd.
I'm saying the same. It's not rephrasing it. It's the same question.
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard it like 3 times now.
Go on then. How do you have gas pressure without a container?
Like you have to interrupt me, and then you just have to repeat the question. It's silly.
This is calm down, bro. Calm.
Relax.
I never made a promise to be calm. And so here, if you want the answer, I'll give you the answer.
Have you got so angry that your voice is cracking? Why is your voice cracking? Have you got so angry that your voice is starting to crack? What's going on? Sounds like a lot of projection. You projected this onto me, but you're now so angry that your voice is cracking up.
It's because
and you're constantly moaning about the interruptions, like you've never been in one of these conversations before. You're projecting a lot of your own ineptitude and problems onto me now.
Being so mean to my dad is why. It's because you were being so mean. And it made
He's
me
a
really
liar.
triggered.
He's a liar. He lied to you about a sky vacuum. I've made that clear. That's why I get angry.
I know. You already triggered me about that. It's okay. You don't have to do it again. So, do you want to hear your answer?
You said I don't have to do it again. Let's just pop him on mute, and I'll tell him I'm doing it. M. Scott Beach has just been popped on mute, so I can make it absolutely clear. Look into the camera while I say it too. M. Scott Beach was lied to by his father. His father claimed to have travelled to a region that doesn't exist, a region called outer space. He lied to his own son about travelling to a place that cannot exist. This is a fact. His dad is a liar.
He's server deafened as well, so I can't hear.
No, he's deafened himself. So he's removed himself from the conversation, having got very angry, very triggered, talked over everybody a lot, and didn't manage to demonstrate gas pressure without a container.
This is the typical example of idiotic ball-tard behavior. He was asked a simple question. Please demonstrate gas pressure without a container. And all we got for 20 minutes was that's what he does. That's all we got. We didn't get anything else.
This is your
M. Scott Veach. You, sir, are a lying clown. Pretender clown, one each, like all of your brethren. You're a moron. Thanks.
Yeah, he's got something to lose in this. He's defending the honour of his father. That's all he's doing, by perpetuating the lie further, obfuscating questions, claiming that the production quality of a YouTube channel is more important than answering a question about how you can have gas pressure without a container, then rambling on about containment and walls, and trying to ham-handedly assert that you can demonstrate this without walls but with a force, which he didn't get to demonstrate, said something very quickly which I asked him to repeat, and then bleated on about production values again.
4 more hours.
Now I'm
We
gonna
got
round
4 more
No,
hours.
Arwen, right? If I say something, then I have to shut up.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't.
No, seriously.
Hey, we got Mr.
I
Grim
have
V,
no
Plasmoid
point, John.
Boy, if you want.
Why don't you shut up?
Alwyn, you can have the last word. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You're right.
Yeah. You mentioned, oh, what the fuck? He was trying to trick you, and you don't have to fucking ram him every time. You can just walk in the trick and then break it. He was trying to suggest some other way to get it done. He tried to get gravity in there, inserted relative density, this equilibrium force, and you shouted at me, John.
Shut the fuck
won
up,
the
Arwen.
argument. You had to yell over it like an asshole.
And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who tuned in on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Of course, a massive thank you to all of today's Discord and G Plus panel for making this after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!